irregular entries. So how could they fail to detect with this huge number involving 45 officers? The second question is, what is the current status? The committee would want to find out the current status of 4 officers whose salaries were recommended to be locked by PEMIC director in Muchinga province. A chairperson, I submit.
Thank you. Any other question on that? So that question applies to Western Province, Muchinga, and Central Province. PS, you can proceed. Let me have Western Province PO to sit there. Then Muchinga and Central be on standby. PS, you can proceed with that question.
Thank you so much, Chair. We regret the turn of events, but fortunately on some of these issues, the situation has been rectified, though at a very late stage, because ideally you would have loved that these things were, even myself, I would have loved that evidence should have come during the course of the audit, which didn't come. But suffice to say, Chair, that if you can allow these same officers, because they are all here, to assist your honorable committee to understand what took place. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. Muchinga? Western Province?
Chair, the only disadvantage is Western Province is not here. Right?
Western Province is not here?
It's us who didn't invite them, because we noticed there were very few things that were required. But I can ask the Assistant Director of HR to assist.
Yeah. Before he proceeds, can we have, is Muchinga here? PO Muchinga? Yeah, okay.
I'm around,
okay.
Thank you.
Please proceed and help us on this irregular introduction from Pika and Shinsali. Then we have Central who look for us, Kapiri and Chibombo. Then I'll allow headquarters to come through. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. These officers were found to be on the payroll. We had a total of 7 who were found. That is 3 of them were discovered, and we had their attachments attached, but 4 would not discover them. So instead, we actually write to Director PEMIC to help us block them, so that when they are blocked on the payroll, they will come to report themselves, and then we'll know if they are there or not. I submit, Chair.
Is there documentary evidence? Can we check the appendix for that to see if there's documentary evidence? Central Province? Honorable Daka, can proceed.
He hasn't fully addressed the question, because the committee would want to know the status of these 4 officers.
So what is the status of these 4 officers?
The payroll not yet blocked for them, and they have not yet come, but we wrote actually. And we can produce copies for those papers which you wrote.
Please provide that information.
Thank you.
If it's there or in the appendices. This is Muchinga. Yes, you can proceed, Central Province.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. The query is acknowledged and regrettable. At the time of the audit, the officers at DEB's office had misfiled the documents which were used to introduce the officers. And these documents were later on retrieved and they have been submitted. And we have taken action as an office to ensure that this does not reoccur. The concerned DEBs were charged, they exculpated, and we want to ensure that this does not reoccur again. The current status is that these people are on payroll because their documents were just misplaced in another file. I submit.
Honorable Daka.
In this era, Chair, we're still discussing issues to do with filing. The further question that I would pose before the officer who is citing that the documents were misfiled. I mean, what having learned from these incidents, can you inform the committee what course of action that you have taken now to avert the recurrence of this very misfiring of documents? What systems, what new systems have you introduced at your offices to ensure that we don't find ourselves again failing to locate very important documents? I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. The PO for Central Province. What is misfiling? Misfiling culminates in what?
Thank you, Chair. Misfiling culminates into the documents being placed in a file which I think did not indicate that the documents which are contained therein. So they were misplaced. Misfiling,
PO, is incompetence. It's period. You don't even need to go to describe the process. It's like I have got this document which is a payment voucher copy. I go and file it in the bank statements. That is pure incompetence of the whatever. If it's an officer from HR, or if it's bestowers, if it's an accounts assistant, that is incompetence. Because you are doing something wrong. You have the information which is correct, but you go and put it in a file which is going to, instead of putting it in the file which is under Director Finance, you go and put it in a file for HR. When the auditors come, you look for it, you can't find it. Now you have to get all the files to start looking, then now eventually you find it. That's incompetence, because the person are not doing their job. So those issues of misfiling, PS, we are not interested. We are not going to admit such kind of answers or reasons. Misfiling is incompetence. So that is incompetence. You can answer now Honorable Daka's question. Me, I just wanted you to clarify, but that's incompetence. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The officers concerned were charged, they exculpated, and we are working on ensuring that this does not reoccur again. How is to retrain all our HR officers before the year starts?
Thank you, PO, Central Province. PS, those reasons are very lame. Imagine you've employed an HR person. Why do you need to retrain them? Are they not qualified? So, PS, you have a lot of incompetent people in some of these districts or provinces, and it's imperative that necessary action is taken. People who don't need to work, who don't want to work, let them not work. It's as simple as that. And I'm afraid the way the pace we're moving at, I don't think we're getting any appropriate answers. And I hope as we proceed, there's improvement, because we are not going to keep going around circles like this. Honorable Mfarari, you have a question?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Muchinga, maybe I just go for wholesale. Western and the Muchinga are saying that they have documents that are available. Now, even in your submission, Western and Muchinga, even in your submission, again, you still fail to put appendices that should indicate that actually you have done your homework. You are now still coming with documents that are not indicated in your submission. I don't know what type of work culture this is. At least the Central, they have indicated Appendix 6, and I'm looking at Appendix 6. But for you two provinces, not even an appendix. What type of work culture is this? Now you come before us here and start saying, no, we have this document. Why didn't you attach them to the controlling officer so that they are part of the submission?
Thank you. PS, you can make your submission.
Chair, if you've noticed, Appendix 6, all these documents are under Appendix 6, all of them. whether it's for Mchinga or whether they are for Central. But suffice to say that what I've noticed that if you are going on and on, the situation is the same. However, I've directed each and every one of them that by the time we are closing our books on the 20th, going forward, they should start now making sure their new files properly labeled, making sure all those things that have been misfiled are properly done, because in future there will be no excuse whatsoever. I also don't want to come here feeling embarrassed. At least we have to make sure that going forward things should be done in a very different way. This is a very embarrassing but learning curve. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mfarari, then we make progress.
My submission is, I understand what the controlling officer is trying to say. In your report, for Central, you have said see Appendix 6, and I've gone to Appendix 6. In Western, there is no indication of what submission you have. I don't think we can guess for Western Province that they have submitted something that is related to their query. It becomes difficult for us. I think report writing or submissions must be as clear as possible.
Thank you. I know, Honorable Mfarari, we are laboring on that, and I beg honorable colleagues that we are not getting answers for that, so I beg that we proceed to the next question and we just take note of that. So next question is unsupported termination from payroll, Central Province and Lusaka. So honorable colleagues, you can even ask from the next our payroll issues, unsupported changes at pay point, any of it you can ask going forward. We will look at them simultaneously. You can proceed. Honorable Mwila.
Thank you, Chair. I want to ask on the unsupported changes of the pay points. I think they cited Mchinga Province. What the audit report is saying is that 249 officers were transferred from one pay point to another without supported documents such as transfer letters or arrival forms. That's from Mchinga Province. But the response is saying the committee may wish to note that out of 249 officers cited, 195 were still occupying the same pay points. So my question is this response disputing the findings of the audit report, that in fact it's not 249 because 195 were occupying the same pay points? And if so, why wasn't this explained to the auditors when they were on site before they could raise it and bring it all the way to this committee? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Next question. Any question? Honorable Mfarari, you can proceed, sir.
Maybe a question that covers payroll systems and all these other things that we have here. Director, Deputy Director, through the controlling officer, why do we have these recurring payroll issues? How tight is your system? Because it looks like it approves even when things are not in order. And I think this question I asked you last time when we were looking at payroll. If either it's whether you or your director, why is it that when you're inputting, it's even when things are not in order, it's accepting? Because it must be able to reject if things are not correct. I don't know anyway how your system has been aligned or put. Because if you have no letter from authorizing, there must be an authorizing point. But in this system, we are seeing people saying, yesterday they were being told PJJ, what, PSS, it's accepting and they are giving them money. Why?
Thank you. PS, I want you to react to Honorable Mwila's question, and after you answer, because these submissions are yours, then from there now your PO for Muchinga will come in to just support. So there's that question from Honorable Mwila. Then after that, the gentleman from or the assistant director from PEMEC, you answer that question. And PS, I find it very difficult, even for us as a committee, to be laboring over these issues when we covered the payroll and we gave you recommendations as ministries how you needed to go and clean up these payroll issues, but we're still back talking about the same payroll, and we are emphasized and done recommendations. I think we should have progression. Even as the ST comes, these are some of the things we tell him. We want to see how government is mitigating these issues. We can't be going around circles. We recommend the same payroll issues again come up. The same related issues. We know your ministry is a big ministry, but you've got structures which can mitigate some of these issues. Maybe you can proceed and answer the question. Then PEMEC, you come after the PS and the PO.
Thank you, Chair. I think before I even address what Honorable Mwila had talked about, I just want to respond to your observation. It's a more reason why I brought all of them here. Perhaps they will learn a lesson of coming here and be undressed so that when they go back, they should be doing the correct things. And I felt that is the only way I can do it, because you've given instructions in here, and I've been here belaboring on my own with my directors, and the things are not taken into account. It reflects back on me as a PS. And I thought that the best way now of doing it is for them to come and I just wanted to answer, Chair, and then from there I go to Honorable.
Yes, Honorable.
Because it was important.
Yes, PS, you can switch off the mic first.
Thank you, sir.
Honorable Mkumbi, can proceed.
Controlling officer, in such a case or scenario, if your officers are not respecting your decisions, what do you do? It's your responsibility to act, and act within the prescribed laws. So if people are not listening in your ministry, why should you even keep them? Chair, why would a person fail to respond to reasonable instructions from a controlling officer? And if we have such officers, why are they even still serving? So what I'm trying to say, controlling officer, is that is your responsibility to ensure that they listen to you. Where they don't, commit to paper. There are procedures. Charge. They are here and they can't respond. How much money have they spent coming from various districts and provinces? Colossal sums. To come and give no responses. Chair, should we even sit listening to people who can provide the responses? Look at the number, controlling officer. How much has government spent? Chair, we need befitting responses here. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Mukumbi. PS, you can proceed. There's that guidance which is very timely, and we are all aware. And people have escorted you here. They should answer. If they don't answer, we'll make them answer. Honorable Mfarara.
Undress is unparliamentary. So let the controlling officer withdraw the word undress. They have not come to be undressed.
Thank you for that. I overlooked at that. PS, you can withdraw that word undress.
Pardon me, I withdraw it, but I think it's just an expression. Sorry, Chair. I was trying to express the fact that they've never been in here. It can be intimidating, even as you come, because you've never been here at all. They should feel how I feel when I am responding on their behalf. That's what I wanted to say. I'm very sorry about that, but I withdraw it. Thank you, Chair.
PS, you can proceed and make submission over Honorable Mwila's question. Then Mchinga PO be on standby, and PEMEC, you can proceed, PS.
Thank you, Chair. The only thing I can say over Honorable Mwila's observation is that the observation is as it is, which I also regret. But however, fortunately, maybe the Mchinga PO can assist us to now straighten why the situation is as it is, away from what the Auditor General had found. Thank you so much.
Mchinga, you can proceed with that submission from your PS.
Thank you, Chair. Indeed, after looking at whatever names were given, out of 249, only 95 people were their places printed to verify if at all they had moved or not. But these people had not moved. But again, in that also we had the other 54 who had moved because of promotions and transfers. I submit, Chair.
So, Debs, you are just reading what is in the submission. You are not giving us an authentic explanation, because you've just read what is here. 54 officers had their pay point changed due to promotion period. We are trying to understand what transpired. I think Honorable Mwila asked a question, which is a straightforward question, and we have no answer, because there's no answer. PS. Pemek, there's an issue from Honorable Mfarari. You can come and sit here on this first seat and make submission. We have no answer yet. If Mchinga, you still be looking for an answer, you can submit after Pemek has done their submission. There's that comment from Honorable Mfarari. Maybe you can just quickly explain. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, before January 2023 this year, the system was porous, because end users, they would actually start the process and it would end with an end user to do the inputs. From January this year, Chair, we have actually put some control measures. We have since introduced workflows on the system. The end user is just there to initiate the process, has to start the process, then the system will trigger workflows. There are 4 approvers. First, when the end user commences the process, it goes to the first approver, who has to authenticate by looking at the documents, and then when satisfied, he approves, or when he's not satisfied, he rejects or she rejects. So once approved, it goes to the second approver, who has also to look at the documents, and if satisfied, makes an approval, and then it goes to the final approver. So basically there are 3 approvers and also the initiator. So the system, Chair, it has actually been strengthened in terms of control measures. I submit, Chair.
Honorable colleagues, that's a submission from Pemek, and we hope with that submission, Pemek, we don't see moving forward some of these loopholes going forward, even for the financial year end 2023, because if this emanate again, you'll have to come back and now tell us another story, how you procured another module which is helping when things are not moving. Progress, Honorable Mwila, then Honorable Mfarari.
Chair, I think as you rightly put it, my question from Chinga has not been responded to, because the question is, why wasn't this explained to the auditors? Because the auditors, we understand, they don't just pop in 1 hour or 30 minutes and they come back. They stay with you 1 week, 2 weeks, they even give you time. They are back here in Lusaka, they tell you, okay, you send this information. And we are here, you are now disputing what the auditors found. So my question, and let's be serious, Chair, why wasn't this explained to the auditors when they were on site? Were you waiting to come here and appear, to travel to Lusaka to come and appear? We are wasting time, we've wasted resources, to come. So we still need an answer. Why wasn't this explained? People don't take this audit process seriously. when the auditors are in the sites, in the provinces, people don't take the work seriously. And maybe probably some people even go on leave when the auditors are around. The result is what the auditors conclude, the responses come here to dispute. So the answer is still required. And I'll move further, Chair, in terms of progress, because the next question is still Chinsali about recruitment. 9 teachers who did not meet the recruitment criteria, they end up being recruited among the 30,000. I do remember very well when the minister was briefing the nation about the recruitment process and how he was very confident that the system was foolproof. No one could temper the criteria. Everyone who was involved in this recruitment process was oriented how to enter, how to accept or reject the applicants. But with that confidence that the minister assured the whole country, we have 9 people in Chinsali finding themselves among the famous 30,000. Again, what happened? And what is the fate of these nine people who were not eligible to be recruited but ended up being recruited, taking up space for those that genuinely deserved to be recruited? What is the status? And why did these people find themselves there? I don't expect that someone who was inputting this information was drunk or was under the influence of anything. They were very alert and awake. How did the system get corrupted that 9 people find themselves there? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mfarari, can proceed. Then Honorable Daka.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chairperson, I just wanted to find out, to follow up on my question to the Director, PEMEC. Director, you have said that you have 4 layers of approval in the new system. Do you have the Director, Human Resource of each ministry being part of the approvals, or it's just other people? Because we are taken to task here, the Director, Human Resource, in terms of payroll issues, and the PS. Who are the 4 layers that are approving?
Thank you. Director PEMEC, take note of that question, write it, and don't forget the question. Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I would like to take the controlling officer to unsupported termination from the payroll. Chair, we are back again. We have we have 49 officers who just found themselves out of the payroll. And we don't want Chair to listen to issues to do with misfiring again. These documents at the point of audit, these officers failed, Chairperson, to provide this documentation. And you know, Chair, this committee, we are not auditors. We are not auditors. Audits ends with the Auditor General's office. Us are just a committee that provide oversight. Provide oversight services to the executive. So even if they bring the documents to us, we are not able to scrutinize these documents. So, Chair, we have this situation again of failure to avail documentation that would support their cause of action. We want to know, why was it a problem to provide this documentation at the point of audit? Where did these documents hide? Again, I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Daka. That is bordering on Central and Lusaka. PS, through you, Director HR. Make us understand as a committee, are you on top of things in terms of these payroll issues in your provinces? What is the issue? Because we want to understand. Especially also PS, you need to come in this issue of teachers not meeting eligibility criteria. What transpired? I think I want you to start with that question. Then we'll move backwards. So PS, you can proceed. What really transpired with the 9? And government lost 93,000 kwacha. How do you, in that event, not only intend to recover this money, but to ensure that this does not reoccur? moving forward. PS, you can proceed. Then I want a comment from HR as well.
Thank you, Chair. When I saw this audit query, I realized it's a very serious round, especially that it's bordering on the authenticity of the recruitment program, and especially in the way Honorable has rightly put it, it was quite watertight. At least that's what we thought. So I engaged Teaching Service Commission. And the reason why I decided to engage Teaching Service Commission, they are the ones who appoint, if you remember, all the committees in the districts. So I thought I should get answers from them, by them maybe probing the committees, especially the Chinsali one. So after that meeting, it was decided that rather than just giving an answer from nowhere, they decided to send a group from themselves and one officer from our place to go to Chinsali, and apparently it coincided with this new recruitment, so they knew that they were going to be available there. So they wanted to go and find out what exactly took place. Who are these members of staff? Are they existing? Is it the truth of the matter? So they took a trip recently and went there, and they actually went and found that it is a truth. Those 9 officers exist, and they probed into their qualifications. Each one of them had one qualification that didn't meet, meaning less short of a qualification to meet what was required. Now, in giving back the report to us, they called me, and I went to receive the report, which I have brought actually for this audit committee, for this gathering. They have said that it's regrettable that the position is like that, but their findings are that it had to do more with the ones who were actually inputting. The inputting was not properly done, meaning the machine, whether it's the computers themselves, it accepted those wrong qualifications. How, even them, they have failed to understand. The committee also, much as they've admitted, but they never saw it until when these people had already been recruited. After this audit, that's when they noticed that this was the situation. So going forward, we said, what is the way forward? The Teaching Service Commission has, and I think that's a message I've brought here, they've decided that notwithstanding the fact that this was a serious anomaly, and the anomaly cannot be thrown on the innocent ones who were brought on board, because we should have ideally, as a committee, that committee should have identified that anomaly. But because they are already on board, their position and proposal and recommendation is that perhaps these people should not be confirmed and have been given a deadline within which to rewrite the one subject that they have fallen short of, to be able to be admitted conclusively in the public system. So meaning that they are not going to be confirmed, notwithstanding that confirmation should have been the next step for them. And they've given a deadline of 2024, the next time they are sitting for exams, that they should have sat. If they fail to do that, or if they fail, they sit and fail, they will have no choice but to take them out of the system. That's a recommendation that has come from the Teaching Service Commission. I thank you, Chair.
Before Honorable Mfarari comes in, Director HR, can we have your comment over what is transpiring in your provinces?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think as I alluded to yesterday, payroll is decentralized, as the Assistant Director PSMD has mentioned. In terms of what has now been introduced, I think at the district, there is a team that looks at these. Previously, it would just be one end user. But now there will be the end user. I think there will be a DEBS as the final authorizing. So the payroll is decentralized. What they are supposed to be submitting, again, like I mentioned, is from the DEBS. In terms of return, it comes to the province, and then the province is supposed to send to HQ. So in terms of being in charge, I would say yes. It is just that sometimes compliance is difficult in terms of receipt of returns, but we are continuously reminding them to ensure that the returns that they submit in compliance in terms of what is required. I submit, Chair.
PS, your Director HR is not even confident when answering that question. It shows how the ministry is not fully in charge of the provinces, because if Fatoi was very in charge and on top of things, it was going to be said, just as it comes out. Pemek, there was a question from Honorable Mfarari. You can proceed and answer that question.
Thank you, Chair. Levels of approvals or approvers. Chair, management of payroll has been decentralized to ministries, provinces, and spending agencies. So what we do, Chair, we request to have names of people to be approvers, depending on the institution. For instance, if it is the district education office, we request to say, give us the name of the first approver. So the institution is supposed to identify who should be the first approver. They should be, the second approver is always the auditor. Now, at the district, say education, health, we don't have auditors. So we have auditors either at PO's office or at provincial health office. So for districts, the first approver will be from the district, then the auditor, he will be from the province. Then the final approver, it has to be the head of the institution. If it is the district, automatically the DEBS becomes the final approver. Or if he wants to delegate, he can delegate to DESO or some senior official at the district. Even health is the same. So institutions, they're supposed to guide us on who should be the first approver. The second approver, it should always be an auditor. And the final approver is the head of that institution. If it is at headquarters, director finance, director finance, director HR, they can actually be approvers or final approvers. So us, our role is just to train those who be approvers and define them on the system. To define is to give rights for them to access the system. And then it ends there. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. I hope, Honorable Mfarari, your question has been answered.
Chair, I still have difficulties with the system. If they are saying it's watertight, it is sitting at the district, and it has 4 levels of approval, and you are guided by the districts or the provinces. Now we have a situation like defining rural hardship allowance, who gets it, and why don't you put up a system codes that should be able to apply for different places, so that we don't have a situation where someone is giving a code or is giving in dollar as a rural hardship. Someone is getting rural hardship, like for that other ministry that came here. Someone is getting rural hardship allowance, is living in dollar, but is getting rural hardship. Why? The system should be able to reject. Why do you, in the new system, have you put those codes so that some of these questions should not come here? Where you are saying you are working in Kashinakaji, but meanwhile you are working in Solwezi, and they are giving you hardship allowance.
Thank you. Honorable Daka.
Chair, listening to the controlling officer submitting to this committee over what the Teaching Service Commission, the response from the Teaching Service Commission, Chair, is quite worrying. This is very worrisome. Because one thing, Chair, that this committee is failing to understand is how these questionable entries found themselves on the list of those who qualified, the people who met the criteria to be recruited. Chair, they should be, you know, we can smell a rat here. why is it that the Teaching Service Commission is so lenient about an illegality? Chair, there was loss of government money here. And as such, we expected them to provide a remedy that would ensure that government recovers the money. These people didn't qualify. They were recruited at an expense of the masses, numerous youths of Zambians who qualified then to be recruited. Chair, they could have been just been sneaked in at that level at an expense of people qualified. And you can see from the response, Chair, the leniency. So, Chair, maybe we request the controlling officer to submit that very report before this committee so that we can analyze that report. Maybe that's when we can see sense in it. But as far as the committee is concerned, there's something suspicious here. You know, people bypassing the systems so at an expense of people who qualified. We cannot condone this, Chairperson. I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Mwila.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this was a sample regarding this recruitment. This was the sample that the Auditor General did, and we have found that there was an incident that penetrated the watertight system. What would come out if the Office of the Auditor General went through the records of all the 30,000 what? 30,600. If they went through each of those, my conclusion would be that would come up with more than 9. Now we need to send a message, Chair. Simply to say yes, it's an illegality, but let's allow it to proceed. We are not sending a message, clear message. An illegality is an illegality. There must be consequences regardless of who is involved. First of all, those were not eligible, and even now they are not eligible. They are illegally sitting on the government payroll. They should pave way for people that qualify. Secondly, the people who are involved, what has happened to them? I still want to repeat, people were oriented, Chair. No one can claim ignorance that they didn't know whether to put credit when it was a fail. They were oriented. There must be a correction, because and there will be a repeat again this year to say no, it was an error the system somehow accepted, but since they are already in the system, let's allow them time to go back to school and learn. We have a lot of people languishing on the street, Chair, with full qualifications. And I'm speaking as an MP, Chair, where I have people in my constituency reaching out to me, honorable, you know, people were recruited, and I keep assuring them, no, there's nothing we can do, the system was watertight. So if you were left out, genuinely were left out. Those who were recruited, genuinely were recruited. But here we are learning about a sample. So first things first, there must be consequences for those who participated in this illegality, the victims and the perpetrators. And then we move forward. Whether we look at that report even or not, but it has been established, there's no dispute, consequences must follow. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, I do get your sentiments, and they are very true. And when PS was making a submission, I actually am failing to reconcile how a system which has got criteria can accept something with a different criteria. But anyway, PS, when we go for break, we want you to call the board secretary or whoever is in charge of commission to come here and come and explain what they did apart from the report. And for sure consequences should be meted punishment should be meted to those people, that committee which picked those people, and even the same people. Because we cannot condone an illegality to say no, we are going to proceed as it were. No, it's not business as usual. Like honorable colleagues have said, I don't want to labor. They've actually said a lot of things which are very important. So PS, we want those people from Teaching Service Commission to come. The one in charge, is it the board, the secretary, or the CEO, commission? Let him come here and come and tell us about this issue and which other people. Yeah, if they're able to, because what is the time? Yeah, if not, then they can come on Monday. But if anything, they let them come and explain, because we are still looking at this issue. Let's make some progress. Next question, Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to take the controlling officer to irregular payment of housing allowance. Chair, here we have got 46 workers who are accommodated in institutional houses, getting housing allowance at an expense of those who really deserved this allowance. Again, Chair, we are back to things that were straightforward. Now, Chair, one wonders how that has continued, and just like how Honorable Farage has already alluded to the fact that the system again, why is it that the system is unable to detect? If human beings have failed us, I mean, we should come up with systems, and this still goes back to people at PEMIC. If human beings have failed us, then the systems should help us. We can't just surrender like that to say no. We should. This is acceptable, and I mean, these are normal. We can't accept that as a committee. Controlling officer, the committee, you have submitted that recoveries were effected on the 29 officers for both districts cited, while 17 officers under Narrow district were eligible to receive the allowance as they were accommodated in a poor and mud structures which does not qualify as a government, which doesn't qualify as a government standard house. The questions come as follows. Why did you not detect the irregular payment of housing allowance to 29 officers who did not qualify? Why did you fail? And the second one is, what measures have you put in place to ensure that the officers who live in habitable houses according to government standard? Okay, what measures have you put in place to ensure that these workers who live in unstandard houses, you know, I've seen teachers living in, I mean, huts, mud houses. What measures have you put in place to ensure that we accommodate teachers in befitting housing structures? The last question is, what measures are you going to put in place to ensure that public funds are not paid to these undeserving officers? I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mkumbi.
Can I move to the next as well?
Please proceed.
Yeah. Chair, on rural and remote hardship allowances, Chair, we note that 1,707 officers who were not eligible to receive these allowances were paid or were receiving these payments, which amounts to about 9.4 million spent on housing allowance. Oh, sorry, on rural hardship allowances. Controlling officer, what challenges are we facing? How can 1,700 people just begin to get money just like that? I would want to direct this question to human resources, because these are human resource matters. There was a question that was posed, I think, from the chair or Honorable Farage. Are you in charge of payroll issues? We know that they are generated from the end users, from probably from schools to districts. We know the whole procedure. But the buck stops somewhere. It stops somewhere, and that somewhere we know. How can 1,700 people, how? 9 million just gone like that? Can you imagine what 9 million can do to even buy vehicles or so for a few districts here and there? Chair, we have a problem in this ministry. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Indeed, Honorable, yeah, very much on spot. Let me have Central Province to come back. Pemek, you can go back there. Yes, Honorable Mpara.
He has not answered my question. I think I wanted to know this watertight system. Why is it still porous, or why was it this porous? You are saying because it was being done by end users somewhere sitting. But now you are saying starting 2023 we might not see this. My question is, we have these same questions they are asking now, or they were asking, where the system is unable to tell us that I'm actually in Lusaka, and yet I'm claiming I'm working from somewhere in Mitete. So that's what I wanted to know, because we was continue grappling with trying to understand who should have done what. I think we're the era where we are, it should be able to accommodate that. So that when I key in Likando and I put my workplace, it should be able to reject. And then it helps in auditing, because it will be able to say, this person is being told is sitting, and when we are doing head count, it will be able to reflect, say, this person is actually supposed not to end this. It will help directors in human resources.
Director Pemi, can you take that question?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, rural/remote allowances, they are attached to positions. A position is defined either to be rural or remote based on the information from Ministry of Lands. So areas, they are defined according to their geographical areas. If the school is described as rural, then us at PEMEC will actually configure position at that particular school as rural, such that when the end user is hiring someone at that particular school, automatically that person will be entitled to the allowance which is applicable. That's how the system actually is configured. So it has nothing to do with actually PEMEC paying those who are not eligible, no. The agony comes in if, for instance, the person who is at rural is transferred to an area which is not rural, and he continues drawing a salary from that particular school, then it becomes an administrative issue. But the way the system is, the way the positions are defined, they are defined according to the geographical areas as guided by Ministry of Lands. If it is rural and one is put there, he will be entitled automatically by virtue of being placed on that rural place. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Mukumbi.
Chair, we are not here to be schooled. We understand these things. And some of us are former civil servants, 20 years plus in public service. So we understand these things. Your response controlling officer, 421 on the copper belt recoveries are being done. Corrective measure. We understand these things. In Muchinga, all the 208 officers, recoveries are being done. So there's something that is happening. The question we are asking is why should 1,700 people even begin to get? So we are now just pushing these civil servants in more debt. We allow them to correct money. We just pay a blind eye, they are correcting. When auditors move in, then you charge them. Already on their meager salaries. And they begin to pay again. So we are not doing we are doing a disservice to our civil servants. Why don't we pick this? The moment a person is transferred, they are transferred. You change everything. Change the paperwork, change everything. If they are elevated, they are elevated. Why would somebody who's been elevated to debts continue getting a salary as a school teacher in a rural school? Why would such a thing be happening? So we understand the procedure too well, but why are these things happening? Who is supposed to do what and who is not doing his job? I think that's where we are. Chair, I submit.
Director Pemi, we understand these things. What the honorable member is trying to communicate to you is that at the point of transfer, just when an officer is transferred, why doesn't the system capture that this officer has been transferred and immediately loses the rural hardship allowance? So we are advocating for a system which is effective, because human beings, I said it there, human beings seem to be failing us. Why don't we put a system in place? Because if we have got a strong system, a so-called watertight system, which is still full of flaws, we want to understand as a committee, why is it that these things year in, year out, they still be coming here? Last year, we were very strong when we were dealing with the payroll here. You are sitting with us here. We want to know, why is it that you are failing to come up with an effective system that would see all these things fall off? We are tired of dealing with the same issues. Director PEMIC, can you shed more light? What are you doing as PEMIC to ensure that we don't come again to start dealing with these straightforward issues? Director.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the major issue is that officers are transferred where there are no positions. When officers are transferred from rural places, remote places to urban areas, they are not put on payroll where they are moving there and then. They might continue drawing salaries from their previous stations because they might not be post IDs to the new positions where they have been taken. Because at times we use our hearts when transferring. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, we are not progressing on this matter. Maybe controlling officer, you have something to say.
Chair, it looks it's quite difficult to, but I know where the issues are. The issues are very, very clear. If the way the PEMIC Assistant Director has described, the transfer takes place from whichever angle, whether it's from ourselves, whether it's from wherever, the DEBs, the problem that there is that transfer is not immediately effected. That's where the problem is. Effected to even analyze that where it's going now, it's rural. It's my people, it's the DEBs, it's wherever these transfers are taking place, they are not doing their work.
Correct.
That's the biggest problem.
Correct.
They are not doing their work at all. Secondly, the payslip itself, if I read that payslip, it also states that as the person who's on that payslip should own up when he sees allowances that don't belong to him. Imagine, it's there written in black and white, but they choose to cover up that and hoping that no one will be able to find out that they're getting those. So they are supposed to also alert management and say, take out this, it doesn't belong to me. So it's both the person who's been transferred, but even ourselves in the systems, whether it's at DEB level, whether it's the HR end user, they are not doing their job. So the system which you are talking about, Chair, I pray, in fact, that's what I'm listening to, I pray that PEMIC can come up with a system that is automatic. That's when these things will finish. But if it will not be automatic, this thing will continue for as long as people are dishonest and for as long as people are not working. Those are the only two issues I can see.
Controlling officer, we know as a committee that at a point of transfer of these particular officers, normally the DEBs are fully aware. And immediately, you know, these end users are stationed at a provincial level. What is the problem with just going to block these particular allowances when actually everything is at their disposal? We don't. That's why this committee is saying we are smelling something here. We are able to analyze some of these things. So where is DEBs for these affected districts? We are talking about the Western Province, Nalolo, on housing allowance, and we have these Western Province DEBs, in short, and Central Province. Maybe we go to them. The committee want to hear them. Controlling officer.
I think out of this equation I've explained, the only exception comes when someone is transferred to an ungazetted school. There you find is carrying along because there's no way he's going to land, it's ungazetted. But the rest, it's ourselves.
Yes, that's why now I want to narrow down. Where are these debts? Western Province and Central Province, and the other one on irregular, Copper Belt, Mchinga, and Lusaka. Where are the debts? In that order, want to hear, first of all, want to hear on the irregular payment of housing allowances. Central Province. Where is debt, Central Province? Can find yourself, there's a space there. We should have Central, Copper Belt, and Mchinga. Western, the debts is not here. Western, they are not here. POs, the provincials for the other, or even the, maybe if you have the provincial for Western Province, is here?
I mentioned that we didn't call Western because they didn't have enough to warrant them being called, but the rest are all here.
Okay, so can we have all these debts? Want to hear, because these are the people who are supposed to help us, but they seem not to be interested at working. So we'll show them here that they have to work. First, Central Province debts. Can you explain why you couldn't take appropriate action on the officers who regularly got housing allowance? You have Central Province. You have got 24 of them in number. Can you submit, please?
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I wish to start by first of all acknowledging that as a district, Chibombo district, at the time of the audit, indeed, the relevant documents to support the authenticity or the legality of the payments that we did were not availed. It's regrettable, Chair, that even when these payments were done by us as a district, we could not still avail the documents. It is from that angle that, Chair, I wish to greatly regret and ask through you to the committee that as a district we've learnt enough from this sitting, and that we promise that going forward we will not allow such occurrences to be done again. However, I wish to make it clear that the number of officers that were involved in these different allowances was huge. I took up office recently, is huge, but I sat down with a few officers from the registry office to see how best we could look for these documents. However, the number of officers that are shown under housing allowance and the other related allowances, we could not manage to trace the documents, and therefore we engaged recoveries, and so far 24 officers that are put under Chibombo district under the category of housing allowance, recoveries have been instituted. I submit, Chair.
How about debts for Kawe and Kapiri? Those were cited under irregular rural hardship payment of rural hardship allowances. Kawe and Kapiri. If they are not there, where the provincial can chip in to respond. Kawe and where are they? Kawe and Kapiri. Yes, kindly proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. I begin by acknowledging the fact that it is true that some officers under Kapili were paid irregularly the rural and remote hardship. As PS had alluded to, Chair, this could have been caused by those officers sitting in schools where there are limited positions, and then they are being paid from other stations where these positions are. However, it is regrettable, and we have learned lessons that we need to ensure that such things do not reoccur by putting in a contra entry for those officers who may be sitting on other payroll positions where rural hardship is being paid, and yet those are sitting on positions or stations where they don't deserve the rural hardship. I submit, Chair.
Then we can proceed to Copper Belt. Under irregular payment of rural hardship allowances, we want to get a word from Copper Belt. Copper Belt, we have got Ndola, Ruwansha, Kitwe, Karulushi, Mfulira, and Chirawombo. If these officers are not there, we can have the provincial education officer to respond on their behalf. Can we find where to sit? Just introduce yourself so that we know where you're coming from.
Chair, good morning once more. I'm Nyongila Christopher. I'm Debs Kitwe. Chair, I want to regret that I have 214 teachers in Kitwe who were receiving rural hardship allowance because of the issue of having more schools that are not on the establishment. Chair, allow me to take this opportunity to thank us that for the past 2 years now, we are being given establishment for the schools that have no establishment, so that we reduce on this number. We regret, and we've learned that next time we will make sure that we do a counter recovery immediately teacher reports in a district from another province or another district. I submit, Chair.
Can we have the other Debs, Ruwansha, Ndola? Yes, Honorable Mfalani.
I don't think we're getting anywhere. You keep on agreeing that they are sitting and that chair, they walk away. I don't think that's the whole essence. We are listening to answers. Let me give, let me, for example, the one who is taking the seat right now. You are saying you are regretting for having paid rural hardship allowances to teachers that are sitting in Kitwe. I don't think it makes any logic for anyone to believe that you could have paid this amount, unless they were not being paid from your district. If they are being paid from your district, you should have known. Now, for him to give an excuse to say it was an oversight, and because they have which school? It was an oversight because they are coming from other districts. If they are coming from other districts, when they are taking position, you know the schools that you are giving those teachers. Why should you come here and start telling us that no, it was an oversight? Which oversight? Some of these things are deliberate, and it looks like you value for money is not there. As long as someone is coming in, he sits. Then you come here and make those fake, unwarranted excuses, and you want to tell us, you know, we are going to make good in future. Which future? Last year your PS was here. These issues were still being raised. Unfortunately, you are not there. Now you have come back again as Kitwe. 2.5 million. 2.5 million. Over 214 workers. And then you want to tell us that it was an oversight. We don't believe that this was an oversight. 2.5 million in Kitwe. Tell us about other places, not Kitwe. Madam Controlling Officer, this is not right. And these queries could have ended in Kitwe if you were really serious. Because all those places are around one place. And you want to come here and tell us that we are sorry. We are not even interested. I think the chair, some of these, let them leave us. Let's deal with the Controlling Officer.
Honorable Mwila.
Chair, I want to agree that this should not be an excuse that, you know, regret having done this. I'm speaking this from experience interacting with teachers in my own constituency in Mufrera, who believe that they should be getting rural hardship allowance, and they are not getting, because they are told you don't deserve rural hardship allowance. And here we have these huge numbers of people who don't deserve rural hardship allowance, but they are being paid. So people actively handle these payroll issues, and they know who is getting and who is not, even who is getting it illegally and who is being denied, but they deserve to get it. People know these things. Again, we talk about control of the HRI issues, starting from the ministry downward to these districts. I think there is a serious lack of control. Teachers are crying out there. They deserve rural hardship allowance. They are not being paid. And yet we have these huge numbers. Total cited in this report, 9.4 million kwacha of housing allowance to people who are not eligible. And yet there are those that deserve it. They are being denied. Being told stories. No, we have submitted. No, we are waiting for response and everything else. Just frustrating responses. Something must be done, and beyond the responses we are getting from the DEBs, the ultimate response must come from the controlling officer and the directorate in charge of HR, to assure the teachers out there who are frustrated because they are not getting rural hardship allowance, and yet they deserve it. Those that do not deserve have swallowed 9.4 million kwacha. Chair, we need serious.
Thank you. Honorable Mukumbi, can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, based on the sample so far done, there seems to be a rehearsal from DEBs. Everyone is saying, I regret it, I regret it. So, it was well rehearsed that we are going to answer in this fashion. So, probably, that's why I said, the back stop somewhere. We have a problem. Rural hardship allowance, 9.4. You go to remote, 4 point something. Combine that, it's a lot of money. And look at the districts that are cited. The districts: Copperbelt, Shwandora, Ruansha, Kitwe, Karurushi, Mufurira, Shirawombwe. Chair, we may not get befitting answers. If we continue in this fashion, we will end up going for 3-4 days here. Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Before we proceed, PS, there's a standard. When an officer reports to the provincial education officer they are going to Lufanyama, let's say for Copperbelt, then the provincial will write to your DEBs to say there's such an officer, and I think they'll be entitled to a rural hardship allowance. Vice versa, when the officer is transferred from the district, the DEBs will write to say this officer has moved from Lufanyama to Kanini, so let's drop the rural hardship allowance. So unless those things are not been, that's not a procedure. But if we have that procedure, why are we having this issue? DEBs. I don't think we should have this issue. It's either DEBs, you are not doing your job, PO, you are not doing your job, or maybe PO you are writing when they are reporting to their stations, and DEBs you are not writing when they are moving out of their station. Vice versa, because this row is interlinked between the two offices, PS. So PS and Director HR, what is the issue of why are we having this issue? It was there in the payroll. We recommended and advised what should be done, and it's a simple instruction. And these payrolls, like the assistant director from PEMECA said, is decentralized. So from the district, once DEBs writes, they go and feed. You've got your days. They go and feed and say drop, 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 drop. But it seems there's collusion. There's some kind of working together to say to just mention that aspect. But before, maybe there are these three questions. before maybe they can be addressed, then Honorable Mfarari, you come in. While they're being addressed, PS, maybe you can just you can proceed and react to them. Then let me have Debs Nakonde. Nakonde is also 2.3 to see if we are a different story. I don't know if did you address Nakonde?
I don't think we are getting anywhere. These Debs will be going there to sit there, and there is nothing. I don't think we are here to play games or to be entertained or to be talked to or sweet talked to. We are not interested. We are not interested. Definitely we are not interested. And these are issues they could have resolved back at their Debs offices than for them to come and whatever. And I don't even think why they should even continue being here in Lusaka. Let them just go back. Because they are not answering. If anything, maybe my question would be to the PO who sits in Lusaka. There are 20, Chair, on page 11. 20 people, Lusaka, Provincial Education Office, were getting part of this hardship allowances and arrears. How? At the PO's office, how? Why should someone get hardship allowance or whatever at Lusaka Provincial Education Office? May we know why?
Thank you. For the benefit of the chair, can I have Nakonde? I hear also since I was outside. I just hear before I now conclude and move with a committee what they've resolved while I was outside. Then PSU, we want you to answer those 4 questions, and we'll make now our position over the Debs. You can proceed and tell us why you continue to pay the rural hardship allowance. Mchinga, can proceed, especially for Nakonde. Are you Mchinga is PO, but are you Debs Nakonde?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, can proceed.
Thank you. It is true, Chair. 191 officers were paid the rural and remote allowances. Out of this number, 176, we recovered the money, and I regret. I'm sorry to say that because it happened. It happened, and I have to show remorse. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. P.O. Lusaka can come and answer for the 20.
Thank you, Chair. Though the report indicates the 20 as at PO, they were actually at a district, and in this case it was Ruangwa district. As we have indicated in the response to the PS, we have made recoveries for what was owed wrongly, but this was Ruangwa district and not PO's office.
Okay, PS, you can proceed and make submission now. And Kitwe recovery is done? Kitwe was there. How many did you recover from the one? Kitwe is what? 214. Where's Kitwe? Quickly, you can tell us. Did you recover anything?
Yes, we are recovering from all these 214 officers.
Do you anyway, PS will answer for evidence. You can take your seat. PS, you can proceed and answer.
Chair, thank you so much. While you are away, I think I belabored to advise why all these occurrences are there, and I was very clear and categorical that my team is not just working. Because we rightly put it, when a transfer is effected, the person who transfers knows whether that person is moving from a rural to an urban or from an urban to a rural. And all those things should be done simultaneously as the transfers are taking place, so they are not working. Secondly, I also alluded to the fact that it can only be so if maybe they are being moved to schools that are not yet, what do we call it? That don't have treasury authority. That one is different. However, I just want to add here, Chair, on behalf of my team that if they are able to recover now, they should have actually recovered at that time. This thing should have been done. It just shows that my team is not working, and will endeavor to see that this changes going forward. The fact that they are able to recover, it means these things could have been avoided even at an early stage. So I'm agreeing totally that we have not done a good job at all. We ought to do better as going forward. And I hope that each and every one of us now have seen what it is and what is important. Especially, I mean, areas in the urban areas, there's no excuse. We can always be able to, see how they are moving from one place to another. If it was in the remotest areas, maybe it's a bit difficult, but we will endeavor. I was also thinking, Chair, as a committee, that maybe at PEMIC, if this situation needs to come to a stop completely, there should be a system that should be able to maybe at a tip introduce a code at PEMIC position, maybe at PEMIC stage, where if such things they are able to see, they can stop it. But as it is right now, even at PEMIC, they are not able to stop automatically. Because if they were seeing these anomalies at PEMIC, I wish there could be a code which can automatically stop these things, so that if someone is getting, it's automatically stopped, and that is it, it doesn't occur again. I don't know whether that can be done, especially in the new system they are saying they're introducing.
Thank you, PS. Thank you for that intervention. However, your ministry, your districts and your provinces, they should trigger the issue. There is no way PEMIC can stop it. It should be triggered because they're the ones who knows the movements, what's happening. So if PEMIC does that, then now you go, I think you'll be going back to say, no, this one is entitled, but PEMIC had stopped it. So I think the onus is in your ministry, who should do that, ensure that there is a process and a standard procedure. Yeah. Us as a committee, you've seen how honorable members are laboring, and they don't even want your debs here because they're not giving us answers. But us, I think, moving forward, would want each and every person who has not done their job, their duty, to be charged. They should be charged. And PS, you should provide evidence that everybody who's not doing their job is charged to that effect, and we should see improvement as you come back. Because we are not going to entertain these people come here and just give us lame excuses. We need to start from a clean slate. Honorable colleagues, if you look at remote hardship allowance, double class allowance, it's the same. Responsibility allowance is the same thing. And these, unless you've got any burning questions on those, we can look at it. But otherwise, I feel we've adequately addressed issues of these allowances, as it were. And we'll give a strong recommendation to PS and ensure that all people are not carrying out their functions designated to their position. They are charged to that effect. Honorable Mfara.
Controlling officer, one challenge which we are seeing through these audit queries, your ministry's failure to respond to queries. These queries, as many as they are, could have been resolved in provinces. But because you have people that have laissez-faire attitude, you have these audit queries coming to this table. That is one. Two, your human resource department, all the way to the last person in districts or whatever, they are not up to their game. Because why you have this accumulation of people being paid is you have transferred, but you have not changed, and your controls are not strong. Under human resource, they are not strong because you are allowing people. I move from Lusaka, I move from Luangwa, I come into Lusaka, I'm still enjoying the privileges of hardship allowance. And yet, your human resource could have done something. I don't know why you are keeping that. And this has got a negative bearing on the whole ministry. It's not right.
Thank you. That's a comment. And before we proceed, PS, even the things we've skipped, and those are double class and what, they've got a serious anomalies. You find a person, instead of being paid remote hardship, they are paid rural hardship allowance. So even those classification, I think PS, we don't want to labor, but we are recommending that you look at them, and any ailing person who's doing it deliberately, they cannot discharge their function, charge them. And we want to see that these people are charged. The same POs, whatever they are called, debs, and whoever is not doing, because it's a clear cut and it's straightforward. People are doing it out of, it's a deliberate move. Incompetence. People just don't want to work. They want to sit there and withdraw a salary, and they are called PO. It's a big position in the province. Very big province. So let's proceed. We go now to management and administration of salary payments, which are not interrelated. But maybe before we proceed, honorable colleagues, with your indulgence, maybe you can just break off for 5 minutes. Then we come back so that we can refresh. Yeah. So PS, let me take this opportunity to lift immunity that you can have quick tea, 5 minutes, we're back, then we can conclude on this paragraph. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You can now advertise on Parliament Television and Parliament Radio. For more information, call 0977 854102 or 0977 536487. Parliament Television, bringing Parliament closer to you. My eParliament mobile application. My eParliament is a mobile application developed by the National Assembly of Zambia in order to bring Parliament closer to you. You can download and install My eParliament from App Store or Play Store. Once installed, you can raise your concerns, provide your input, opinion and feedback on various projects or decisions being made in your constituency. On My eParliament mobile application, you can listen to Parliament Radio. You will have access to parliamentary documents such as bills and acts which are considered in Parliament. You also have access to National Assembly social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. You can also watch parliamentary debates live on our YouTube channel. Download My eParliament now. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you. My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact information, your email, phone number and home address. Step 3. Select your constituency. Step 4. Create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5. Confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6. Sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7. Create your submission and submit. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you.
Keep watching Parliament Television, a station that brings Parliament closer to you.
Parliament TV, bringing Parliament closer to you. My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC, and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact information, your email, phone number, and home address. Step 3. Select your constituency. Step 4. Create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5. Confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6. Sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7. Create your submission and submit. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you.
In accordance with Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, we can proceed, honorable colleagues. Just for guidance, we are on page 9. And if you look at page 9, we have issues of officers irregularly sharing bank account numbers, unsupported bank account changes, irregular voiding of bank account for officers due to termination, employees with questionable salary scale, double salary due to double employee numbers, duplication of teachers on payroll, Southern, Lusaka, Northern, unsupported salary scales. So you are guided. Let's proceed as such. You can ask on any of those, like we did on the earlier ones. So you can proceed. Attachments are also been emailed on soft copy, so you can count. Then there's also hard copies, those who want hard copies. So PS, maybe you can just tell us how you've mitigated this issue of irregular sharing of bank accounts, and what you put in place to ensure that this does not reoccur. And then Central Province PO, you can sit there. This is pertaining to Central Province. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think there are several issues that are taking place here as regards bank accounts. In one breath, it's just a mistake of the account numbers that were being given, but not necessarily that they were the same for this one individual. In other cases, I've noticed that it's when it's spouses who are all emanating from, maybe they are both teachers and are holding bank accounts, it also has happened, and banks have confirmed that it's not a mistake. And in other cases, I've noticed a newly recruited teacher. I think those are the ones that were very common last time, because at least I saw them on my own, when they were crying foul that their salaries were not coming through, and yet they had given bank accounts. Later on, we ascertained, after confronting them, that they are given wrong bank account numbers. So I think those are the issues, and we'll be very careful in actually trying to have a rapport with the banks themselves, but also at HR level, that they should be careful, especially as we are recruiting, to see that we have been given correct bank account numbers. Thank you, sir, Chairperson.
Thank you. PO Central Province, what transpired on this issue?
Thank you so much, Chair. For Kawe District, we have 2 teachers who were sharing the bank account. These are a couple. They are both teachers, and they have provided us with the marriage certificate and all the necessary details, and they have been submitted. For Serenje District, we have 5 teachers who had given wrong bank details at the time they were employed, and these have been corrected, and since the problem has been resolved, I submit.
Thank you. Okay, that is it's not a very contentious issue. We can proceed. Unsupported bank account changes, Western Province. Yes, Honorable Mfarara, you can proceed.
The problem I have with audit queries like this is it comes up to here. Why didn't they provide or tell those teachers there's a period, it's a process. This audit is a process. Why not go or ask those teachers to submit their marriage certificates if they want to share banks? But now it even comes here, then we don't know. A controlling officer, the buck stops at you. Because in this case, this audit query through your team that was sitting to resolve with the Auditor General's office, this should have been resolved by actually calling some of these, bring the necessary documents, then it ends. But it comes up to here. I think this must come to an end. We can't have queries like this and making the whole eating paper and no. I think controlling officer, next time we don't want to see these. People are sharing a marriage, account and they are married. Then they will fail to provide the necessary documents or approval from them. I don't think so.
Thank you. Proceed, progress. Very true. And PS, take note. Like we've already been, I think, echoing the same sentiments, that there are certain things which are administrative, which you can resolve at a stage before being escalated to the DAP and all those things. But the problem is what also Honorable Mfarara is saying, and also Honorable Mwila said that people should take audits seriously. When you are given to provide information, to provide. Then you reduce. Some of your colleagues are not even appearing before this committee because they took it upon themselves to ensure that they answer some of these queries and taking it business as usual. We progress, honorable colleagues.
Yes, it's the same, Chair. I think even the Chair.
Yes. Yes, Honorable Mfarara. Switch off the mic, Central Province. Yes, Honorable Mfarara.
Chair, it's the same again. Where the next query was unsupported bank account number changes. Again, writing a letter to the bank or showing proof that actually the owner of the account wanted to have the bank number changed or the bank changed because he wants to get a loan. Then they fail to provide such, and we must come and start sitting here. Salaries that bounced due to voiding accounts.
Let's proceed to employees with questionable salary scale, so that we can hear why these salary scales are questionable. This we can. This will just will recommend PS on these ones, issues of bank accounts. Maybe the salary scale. Maybe PS you can submit for us why you have these employees under Western Province who have a questionable salary scale, because we should have a standard salary scale, and why they were not placed in correct notches right from the beginning, and if anything, what challenges you are facing as a ministry to correct those scales. You can proceed.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think this I found as a historical issue, which of course should come to an end one or the other, maybe remain with the previous ones to be resolved. It's a situation when somebody goes and decides they are going to upgrade themselves in terms of getting higher qualifications. So at the time they're employed, maybe they're salary scale G, and then he upgrades himself and gets a higher qualification. Ideally, they're supposed to be placed in a higher salary scale, and this has not been happening. It all boils to that same issue of not doing correct things on time. I know it was vast in the past, but we are slowly resolving and making sure that those are given when they are, of course, vacancies for such. Normally that's where the problem is, isn't it? If we don't have vacancies, then they will remain at that position until such a time when there is. But maybe I can also allow HR directorate, because these are issues that they deal with every day. Perhaps they can also assist in seeing what is a challenge that they are facing over such issues, particularly Director HR and the Assistant Director. If you can allow me, Chair, that they can come in.
Yes, Director HR can come in, then Honorable Vice Chair, maybe Honorable Vice Chair can proceed with your question, then Director will come.
Thank you, Chair. And Chair, since I came late, maybe I introduce myself. PS, welcome. My name is Jacqueline Sabao, Member of Parliament for Chikankata constituency. I'm the Vice Chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee. PS, I'm asking this question because we had the same question last year under the pay law report. Do you have the qualified HR under your ministry? And if yes, why do we have these same queries year in, year out? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. So before we proceed, PS, let Director come in and tell us about those salary scales, then you answer that question. Then, honorable colleagues, I'll give guidance. Looking at some of these questions are just the same repetition. We'll just look at certain questions which are eminent to look at. You can proceed, Director HR.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think, like my PS has mentioned, really it's a question of maybe people are inputting this. I think there have been some negligence. I want to admit on that one, Chair, in terms of people doing their work. But as we have mentioned, I think going forward we'll take a bit stronger position to ensure that we do the correct thing. I submit.
Honorable Mfarari, I have a question.
Chair, Chair, the figures that we are seeing in this report are quite huge. Western Province is one of those places with the officers with misplaced payroll areas. If you look at the figures, you realize that the people that are involved are many, money involved are many, and in all these misplacements, you realize one thing, that this is what makes it difficult even to know how many people should be replaced in what area, because people are holding positions that they are not supposed to hold. He's sitting in Mongu, teaching in Kanyonyo, and then he's getting a salary in Shekela. And then, because there is no proper reporting system or mechanisms, this is what we end up. I think Director Human Resource, I think take a move. Otherwise, this is not looking good. You can't have 961 people in Mongu who are getting their salaries on in areas where they are not supposed to be. I don't think is total 217 million. Actually, the total is beyond that. That's 1.8 billion. 1.8 billion is being used. So on page 27. So the Chair, even when they are saying we are going to make improvements, I don't know. Did this ministry appear here last year on the payroll issues? Maybe the Auditor General should guide us so that we can deal with them nicely. But then why would we have this?
No, they did appear last time, and I think that's why we keep emphasizing to PS that most of these payroll issues, we've done recommendations, and we don't understand why they keep popping up again through the Auditor General's report, when we had given strong recommendations to that effect. And honorable colleagues, these are one of the issues we need to also table with Secretary to Treasury as he comes, because we want to see progress, and not because if these things keep coming out like this, then there's no progress to that effect. Then what is the executive doing to ensure that they mitigate some of these issues and also close some of these loopholes where government is losing colossal sums of money? So let's, PS, maybe can answer Honorable Sabao's question, then we make progress.
Honorable, they are qualified. In fact, they are masters holders in their own fields. So I thought they are qualified. Not that they are masters in a different field, but in HR matters. So even as I arrived in there, I scrutinized and I saw that they are both qualified, whether it's at assistant director level, whether it's at director level, they are sufficiently qualified. But maybe the difference is that qualification and doing the actual work can be different, is what I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's make progress. So, okay, Honorable Mkumbi, yes. Please speak through the mic. What page?
Page 30.
Okay.
30.
So I wanted to guide before we proceed because we've gone to page 30 so that we see what we look
Chair.
at.
Okay, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just hold on, Honorable Mukumbi. So unaccounted for officers, we'll look at that. Just a second. Okay, so we'll look at misplacement of payroll area. Which Honorable Ferrari started. This one has got a huge figure. Then we'll proceed. It's on page 27. So honorable colleagues, take note. Then we'll proceed to Sarah is paid to deserters. No. The same unaccounted for officers. Honorable Mkumbi, take note of that. You proceed with that. That is 76 million. Yes, salary is also. Then let's proceed with those two. Then I'll guide as we proceed, because some of them. Then we'll proceed to the issue of the farm, the management of farm in Kitwe Debs. That one we should look at it. So, Honorable Mfarari, have you? We can look at page 27 and extinguish that issue of 217 million. If there are any questions on that, misplacement of payroll area, then Honorable Mukumbi, you come through with that question after that. Yes, you can proceed.
Chair, I think the question I have to the controlling officer is, you have all these officers misplaced payroll areas, and the query was given to your office. What challenges are you finding in ensuring that your provincial education officers account for their actions? Because all I'm seeing here, these are provincial education officers playing around the staff and moving people. We don't want to be, you have people that are connected and are bringing disconnection to us here. What have you done? The figures are too huge, especially for Western Province. And you indicated that this actually, you did, because you looked at it, it's a small matter. Now, I think you could be able to help us to understand this small matter here.
Thank you. Honorable Lumai, you've got a question.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this query is too huge, PS. Mr. Chairman, this was being done without Treasury Authority. And it is possible, Mr. Chairman, that these individuals can be there or not be there. And now, where you are spending 1.8 billion, Mr. Chairman, is not a joke. So, the response I want from the controlling officer, since taking over office, what steps have you taken in place to ensure that these issues are not happening in the ministry? Because now it is threatening. You cannot be paying 1.8 billion to teachers. We suspect maybe they are not there. because we are told this was being done without corresponding treasury authority to create these vacancies. So our administration under your watch, what is it PSU are doing to close these anomalies?
Thank you. PS 1.8 billion is a figure which I think once someone mentions it, we are all sitting upright to try to understand what transpired. And we really want a befitting answer. I've looked at your submission here in terms of management response. We want to see something tangible and something which has been done, like Honorable Lumai has said, so you can proceed and answer that question. The two questions from Honorable Mufarari and Honorable Lumai, you can proceed.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think this issue is beyond the control of the ministry. I think I have to admit right from inception. But the beauty about it is I've heard you say, ST, when it comes, perhaps some of these issues can also be addressed. And I pray, and this is what I'm now trying to convey to the committee, that when ST comes, maybe that's the time you could also talk on our behalf to see how best these things can be straightened. It's a situation where we are already building schools everywhere. So schools are coming up, and there's desperation. Children need to be in those schools. But we don't have treasury authority. So the question that there is that, do we leave those schools opened without being occupied when the learners are in dire stress to be able to be taught? So normally what we do, and what has been happening over the years, is you pick from schools that have maybe enough teachers. They could not be enough, but at least those that can let go of teachers, to place them in those schools so that the schools can be up and running. But what you've done is that you have created a problem, because they are taking those teachers to schools that don't have treasury authority. It's not there. So for as long as there's no treasury authority, definitely this mismatch will be there. And who resolves this? It goes right up to authority at treasury level. And they are the ones who are supposed to be giving us vacant positions and so on. And, you know, so it's a collective issue from ourselves, and a decision to be made at policy level, whether to avoid this serious mismatch, we leave the schools vacant until authority is given. Or looking at also the desperation of wanting a child to be in school, we do and proceed in the way we are doing. But as we do that, this is a detriment now that comes up. So, Chair, I submit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Lumai.
Mr. Chairman, Chipata office alone, District Education Office, 1,995 teachers. Just one office, Mr. Chairman. You come to Petauke, 640 teachers. You come to Katete, 1,125. And this is not being done by UPS, but it is being done by your officers. Now you are in charge of this ministry. So this is happening. Now we are saying this is being done without treasury authority. So I suspect that while the director here is waiting for a salary at the month end, there could be an invisible hand which is benefiting from these numbers. So now that you are in charge, are you going to agree to this committee? If, Mr. Chairman, we suggested that we needed the PEMIC to discuss this matter with Minister of Education so that we can have a report as a committee.
PEMIC is here. There's an officer from PEMIC. Yes, Honorable Mfarari, then PS will react to those two issues.
Chair, I think this matter that you are talking about, the PEMIC to be involved, this is an administrative matter. And I think if there is trail of these members, how you have allowed them to move from one point to the other, I don't think the number my brother is giving Honorable Lumai giving an example of Chipata. Chipata, we all know how Chipata, we have campaigned. We know how big Chipata is. And to have in Chipata alone, to have this number, 1,995 people on misplaced payroll, it means there's no record, there's no proper accountability in terms of the staff, the way they are moving. Someone is just moving people anyhow. And they are being sent, go this side, go this side. And that is what is creating confusion. I don't think a PS controlling officer, this is about schools that have not been gazetted. No. The numbers are just too high. This is all about failing to put a trail to the people that are being moved. Someone is not doing the right thing here.
Thank you. PS, proceed.
Chair, we've done audits of this nature before. It's there. That's the reality of it. We've created new schools in all these provinces. A number of them, World Bank schools. In fact, there are many. If you look at Eastern Province, there are quite a number. We've engaged. In fact, with PSMD and the rest, we've kept on engaging. But this authority, maybe like you are putting it, even with Teaching Service Commission, this is a thing we always discuss between the two of us. We have done that. No, the issue of trail, Chair, is not about that. For auditors, I think the auditors are here. For as long as they will find that this situation is what it is, whether it's genuinely being done, for them it's an audit because there is no authority given. I think the auditors are here, they can testify for me and support me and tell me if I'm wrong. For as long as we have not been given that authority, even if we've done it genuinely, for all these new schools, 120, 118, 89 schools, they'll still raise it as an audit query. I think they can help me if I'm wrong on that one. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Auditor General, is there a comment on that?
Yes, Chair, thank you so much. I think the PS is right. Because of the issue of misplacement of payroll area, you know, we have a criteria that is well articulated. So as long as the criteria, the ministry is not adhering to that, as far as the office is concerned, they will raise that issue. You will note that during the deliberation for the payroll, I think this was the matter that was discussed at length and the recommendation was made. So what the office is trying to do is, as we go back to the ministry or any other ministry, particularly Ministry of Health, Education, these are the big ministries, these issues are still recurring. So I think it's very, very key that Chair, maybe the Secretary to the Treasury can be someone so that maybe give guidance on what are the challenges that they are facing. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mkumbi can proceed with unaccounted for officers.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling officer, I believe that your officers, particularly those in accounts and say human resource, are very familiar with the public finance management manuals or regulations. And one condition, I hope the director is listening there. We don't allow phones here, sir.
No, I'm actually calling you.
Because this will come to you, sir. Okay. I believe you are all familiar with regulation of 2020, public finance management regulation 2020. And in there, headcount is one of the conditions that are in there. You have to count your members for payroll purposes. Now, here's a situation. In 80 stations, about 1,132 officers were drawing salaries, totaling 76 million, 76.1 million. So, what I want to understand, and in your response, if you go down there in your response, you are saying we acknowledge that staff retains may omit some people. Staff retains are key, and they have to be to point. So if we are even doubting our own staff retains, how are we going to save government resources? Like in this case, for Mansa. How are we going to do that? So how credible are your staff returns in the whole entire ministry? And the second question is, do you conduct payroll audits, quarterly payrolls? It's a requirement. Are all these things being done? Because if they are being done, we can't be having such responses. Look at Muchinga province. You are saying of the 292 officers out of the 416 have been accounted for, leaving a balance of 117. 117 officers not known where they are, but they are drawing salaries. Are these ghost workers? You go to another province, central province, of the cited number, 35 are nowhere to be seen. You don't even know their whereabouts. The other province, 674, unaccounted for. How can this be happening? And so much money just being paid to some people that are not even there. It's of great concern. And our colleagues in the ministry must assist the PS. Must assist the PS, Chair. Otherwise, same issues here. So I want to understand whether you even conduct those, whether your staff returns are credible, and whether you do conduct your payroll audits quarterly, and because those can pinpoint whether people are there or not. Head count, very key. It's there. It's a requirement. Chair, submit.
Thank you. PS 76 million pertaining to 1,132 unaccounted for officers. It's a not a negligible figure. So I want you to proceed and give us the answer to that effect. PO Mchinga, be on standby, and Copper Belt, you can come and sit here so that you tell us about the 674 coming from Copper Belt and where we're at. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I remember when I came, there was an audit that was done pertaining to salaries. We did that. Although, of course, maybe because it's a big ministry, it has to be an ongoing kind of situation. Returns, yes, there are returns, but I'll be honest. The beauty is my team is here. I've said, before I came, there were no returns that were being done. Absolutely no returns. But when I came in, that's a condition I set. I wanted returns done every single month, and I've given them a day. I think they all know a day in a month when returns are supposed to be coming to us. So that I'm ready, just because I tend to think that when we get those returns, it will then filter from their districts right up to ourselves to see what is happening as regards payroll and everything that goes on in HR. But for these ones, I'm glad they are here. They might also be able to assist us to know what is happening, because it's happening in different places at different situations in different areas. But otherwise, returns are now being done. They were not being done before.
Thank you, PS. The question is, where are the 1,132 sitting? Are you aware where they are? I think that's what is emanating from Honorable Mukumbi. Are you aware where they are sitting and if they are there? And when this query was raised by Auditor General, what has the ministry done to authenticate where these 1,132 officers are sitting, if at all they are there? You can proceed.
Chair, at the time of audit, and I think this is the same issue we are belaboring on, they were not bringing documentation to show where they are. But as I sit right now, as we came to audit, and those are the same things I was saying, that we respond because we are coming to pack, which is also not good. They will tell you as they are seated in there now that they've resolved this, they've resolved that, they've resolved this. A thing that should have been done, and I keep on saying it's a back and forth approach. These issues should have actually not been audit queries that should reach this place now, had we directed our minds to the seriousness that audit desires to be. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Lumai and then Honorable Mfarari. But I want Kubabel to come in once you make your submission. You can proceed, Honorable Lumai.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, while we wait for Copper Belt to come in, this ministry is very big. Regarding the same query, Mr. Chairman, we are told other officers have been recommended for locking of salaries to establish their whereabouts. So their salaries were blocked after the audit query. And this is just copper belt, Mr. Chairman. So the answer I want to beg from the controlling officer, at what stage are we? If we have other officers whose salaries we have blocked because we don't know where they are. So at what stage are we as a ministry? Like the chair said, at the time of audit, these officers were not even known by management. And you have responded quite right that they did not submit documentation. But you'd agree with me that 3 months period is a lot of time to submit documentation. Now, in your submission, that's when we are now agreeing that yes, we have traced some, others we have blocked their salaries. So looking at the ministry, how huge it is. So help us to understand at what level are we now currently.
Thank you, Honorable Mfalari.
Chair, the controlling officer is telling us that they are now up to date. Staff returns, audit, salary audits, and if they are up to date in terms of staff returns and audits, then why are we having a challenge? Maybe Copperbelt can tell us how many returns they have provided to the ministry, so that we can now use those returns to understand what is at play here. Because if really, though I don't know how feasible it is for monthly returns, staff returns, I don't know, but quarterly I think it's something that can be done. But since they are doing monthly returns, can they tell us what they are, the returns, what returns they have made? Because if you are really making returns and you do your balance, you do your trial balance, then you should be able to account for the people that are missing. You should be able to tell, say, this one. And if not, before this audit query was raised, you should have actually cut them off than to come and wait and cut it off now. 23rd August from 2022, 23rd August 2023, you still didn't know where these officers were. And there was no record. And then we have come here. So tell us, since you are doing monthly audits and staff returns, where are the people? Let's look at your returns.
Thank you. Copperbelt, you can proceed. PS has a question in abeyance from Honorable Lumai, but I want Copperbelt to comment looking at the number. Then Muchinga, you come through, because these are the two provinces with a high number. Copperbelt, PO, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Through my PS, it is true at the time of audit, we had 674 officers unaccounted for. And after that, we had to carry out an audit, and 656 were found, and we remained with the 18. We requested PEMIC to lock up the salaries for those 18. As we were coming here, 2 emerged. So we are remaining with 6, and IBA we are remaining with the 16. I want to say it is true that every month we submit the staff returns to headquarters. The challenge that may be there, Chair, is the transfers, and sometimes we have people moving from one point to the other, and we sometimes delay to update the staff returns. And also we have community schools. I think we need to do a lot with community schools, especially our colleagues who are in the community schools, to guide them and help them to continuously update the staff returns. And also our officers, when they move from one station to another, or they come into Copper Belt, they delay to submit the accounts from 8-1 so that we are able to track where they are. That's where we are, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mwila, then Honorable Mukumbi and Honorable Mfarari can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. On a light note, it seems the spirit of Chimpapira has spread the whole country. So it's one thing to find them. So
Honorable, what is Chimpapira? People are listening and watching. They don't know what Chimpapira is.
Chair, there was a story of a teacher who had disappeared in Kasama somewhere, but he was found drinking cachasso. So my question is, so that one may qualify to be, he has been traced, but he's been traced drinking cachasso. So the question I want to ask is, if you, the number, P.O. Copperbelt, the number that you have said have been traced, have they been traced in classrooms, or they've been traced under trees somewhere, breathing, but not actually in classrooms? And I think that question may actually apply to the rest of those that are accounting for the numbers that they have found. Where have they been found? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mukumbi.
Thank you, Chair. And he's saying that 2 have just been traced. Why is here? 2 have resurfaced somewhere. So, are these very senior people, or these are people that are managed by others? Are they headmasters or what? Because I believe that headmasters also manage a cadre of teachers. So they'll be able to know which teacher is in school and which teacher is not. So if people are just coming on their own, they are just being traced, they just report on their own, then where is the hierarchy? Where is the hierarchy in these ministries? Take for example Muchinga, 117, nowhere to be seen. Chair, I can't understand what he's trying to tell us here. People are just appearing on their own. Where are the supervisors? From the classroom section, there are senior teachers, you have headmasters, deputy headmasters, you have at district level, you have DEBs, you have all these people can trace people. Then we have a problem. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Sabah.
Thank you, Chair. I think my line of thinking is within Honorable Mukumbi's submission, because I wanted to make a follow-up on the submission by the provincial Copper Belt. PS, I'm at sea, considering the submission by your Copper Belt, because like Honorable Mukumbi said that there's a system, even if I'm not in the Ministry of Education, but just looking at the structure, it's well organized. There's a ministry, there's a DEBS, there's a province, there's DEBS office, there's a school. So where is the problem? Because the head teacher, the teacher reports to the headmaster reports to DEBS, DEBS to the province to the ministry. So where is the problem here? I think your submission is not of saying someone has just surfaced. No, I think that's not a logic submission, Chair. People have to be serious. These are government resources and taxpayers' money. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you want to come in? You can submit. Then PO, you answer those questions. PS, you can proceed.
I think, Chair, let's maybe understand from a perspective of when we say teachers are not being traced. I think that's where the issue is. How then do we say teachers are not being traced? If the external auditors come on the ground to do their audit, and you remember I mentioned, for as long as they are not sitting on established setups, for them those teachers do not exist, as far as the auditors are concerned. But us as a ministry, we know that this has resulted because perhaps they are in schools that don't have establishments, or they've been transferred to schools that don't have establishment. So it's really the onus is now on us to ascertain what the auditor's finding is, who says, for me, as long as there's no Treasury Authority, these teachers, for me, they are not there. So we are the ones now who should show where they are sitting. I think I wanted to just bring in this so that we understand that this is where the history is coming from when we say we don't trace them. Now, when we block salaries, It's with the view of now saying, the teacher now will cry foul, my salary hasn't come. What has happened? So they will now come running and saying, my salary is not there. And in saying my salary is not there, we realize those are now the teachers who are now coming in. Where are they sitting? So we establish now where they are sitting. From a school which has no establishment, but they exist as teachers. For the audit report, they do not exist for as long as they don't have that authority that is given to them. So maybe us where the problem is, we should then have this particular different register that shows, fine, there's no treasury authority here, but we have given teachers to these schools. Then at the end of the day, we should have that register to show that these are the ones who don't sit.
Okay, Honorable Ferrari, yes, PS. You can switch off your mic, PS.
The question that we are looking at here is Sarah is paid to unaccounted for officers. Officers that are not known where they are and so forth. This is the question at hand here. And if the ministry is really telling us, Copperbelt PO, you are telling us that monthly you are doing your returns. Your returns means all the staff under the Copperbelt, whether they are sitting at a gazetted school or ungazetted school, when people query that there are 674 people that are missing, you should be able to tell those people that I have these people. They are sitting here and here and here. You should have not even come here if you really were making your returns. Yes, then for them to start there. Once you tell us that you do your staff returns monthly, there's no way you can be paying 674 people that are not known. No way. So the issue of you telling us that you have staff returns, I don't see. It's not there. There are no staff returns you are making. Because you could have not missed 674 people. Whether the school is gazetted or not, you should be able to tell that we moved this to this place and this is sitting here. This is not about gazetted or ungazetted schools. This is about people that are being paid. Where are they?
Thank you, Honorable Ferrari. Just like also PS said, I think PS onus is on you, like Honorable Ferrari is saying. It's simple. You've got the records. If you have so many teachers who were at Chiwala Secondary and you've moved them to a new boarding in Masaiti or somewhere, you have the records. So simply what you provide with auditors, we've got TS number 1, 2, 3, 13, 1, 4, 4, 4. All these ones you are saying unaccounted for are whatever they have for said boarding school. For verification, it's possible that you can go there and you find them. Then these things cannot terminate. But why are they emanating? Because nothing is being done on the ground. Or you know yourselves, you know they are in Mpongwe. And like you said, PSU you know. But the auditors, they don't know. Yes, so for them they are unaccounted for. So I think it's important that we do our job. PO Copperbelt, it's important that we do our job. When you come before this committee, you are not coming to tell us the processes. We do understand. People you see here are well-vested people. And they understand and they've got the background information. That's why when people are asking questions, they are not just asking. They know why they are asking. And they know why they are emphasizing, because we know what is on the ground. So I think it's important that PS, most of these issues we are laboring with, we don't have answers. But we want to make progress, want to ensure that these things are extinguished, are mitigated. We don't want to see this reappearing again, because I think the recommendations and actions which will be taken, people shouldn't regret and saying no, they are unfairly treated, because some of these issues we can extinguish them in the quickest possible time. We'll proceed, honorable colleagues, because I don't think there's an answer P or Copperbelt to give us which will change the position. So we'll proceed. I think I won't even invite Muchinga, it's the same. Honorable Sabawi can ask your question, then Honorable Lumaya, I know you still have a follow-up question.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is from failure to constitute a medical board. My answer. In your submission, controlling officer, you indicated that you have written to Ministry of Health to convene a medical board. Has the medical board has been constituted, and what was the recommendation? And if yes, we need evidence. And then also I'll ask the other question on payment of salaries to seconded officers, same answer. In your submission, you indicated that the seconded officer has been paid back the money he owes government. Now my question is, why didn't the ministry fail to detect this lapse, and why did it take this long to address the same issue? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Lumai, is it a follow-up on what we're discussing?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, because the Vice Chair she has moved ahead, but I thought my query was very important to the controlling officer, because I heard the PS like contradicting herself. When the PS was saying the problem with auditors, as long as an officer is not found on the register, to the auditors it is a query. I thought we were speaking the same language. So what I wanted to find out from the controlling officer, maybe she has two positions. There can be teachers on staff returns and teachers who are just teachers without being on the staff returns. So I wanted her to make that clarification, because she said the problem with auditors, external auditors, as long as the teacher is not appearing in the register, to them it is a problem. So I thought every civil servant must be in the register. So she was taking the committee at sea. So I thought if she can clarify what she meant, where they are having a problem, like the Vice Chair and Honorable Mukubi were saying, we have head teachers, we have got depths, and where are we having a challenge to identify our own teachers if it is not from the staff return registers?
Thank you. PS, you can clarify on that issue. Then there's a question from Vice Chair on medical board, and also the misappropriation of payment of salary to a seconded officer, which I think, Vice Chair, you should also look at misappropriation of funds in Mansa. I think then you can, then that should be complete. So PS, you can proceed with Honorable Lumai's question.
I think Honorable Lumai might pardon me. I didn't say the register. What I meant is that when the auditors come on the ground, for as long as our members of staff are not in an established school, they are not, as far as they are concerned, they are not part of us. So meaning, if there are returns, and I think that is exactly what we are talking about, if they were as a ministry, and I think I qualified that, as a ministry, we ought to have our own register that shows that that discrepancy can be like that because they are in schools that are not registered, but we have this register that shows the complete picture. That's what I meant, not the way Honorable you put it. That's what I meant.
Chairman, you have heard the response from the PS.
Yes.
So now, if the PS is saying that establish schools, but you have your complete register where your teachers are. So what was difficult to submit this as Honorable Kando was submitting to the auditors? Why are we having this query now?
Thank you, Honorable Lumai. PS, you can quickly, in summary, answer that one, then we proceed to the next
ideal situation, Honorable, is that we ought to have a complete register as a ministry. And I think that is where the lapse is. If there was, these issues would not arise. I think that's what I meant.
Thank you. Please proceed. There's a question on Mansa, which is on constitution of a medical board and paying a seconded officer. Mansa, is the Mansa Debs here? Yes, you can proceed and tell us why you are paying a seconded officer and why it also your failure to constitute a medical board. You can proceed. Please proceed.
Thank you very much.
Just push your mic down so that we can.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, the situation is like that, but the medical board is not yet there. We managed to do the process, and then we've written to Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, but the board hasn't been formed yet. We are still waiting.
Seconded officer was being paid, who was put on a salary and paid salaries amounting to 89,787. What transpired? How do you put a seconded officer on the payroll?
Thank you very much. I think he wasn't put on. He was still on the payroll. We just delayed. That is in removing him, but we wrote to him, and he started paying back the money. And the payment plan has been given to us.
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this is a committee of facts, not speculations. Through the PS, may the DEPs give us the communication they did to the Ministry of Health.
Do you have evidence that there were correspondence between your ministry and Ministry of Health? And also, I still don't get, the answer is not adequate. How did the seconded officer how did they find themselves to be on the payroll of the Ministry of Education? Do we have a human resource management officer from Mansa?
We have from the PO, the Shirimo.
Sorry, or whoever the Shirimo.
HR is around, sir.
Where's the senior HR? From Mansa, come and sit here. Tell us, how did this officer find themselves on the payroll? Since the payroll is decentralized and it has taken you this long for this person to be even getting paid up to the tune of 89,000 kwacha, tell us why.
Thank you, Chair. It's true that the officer was seconded in Seychelles, and the mistake which was made at district level was to delay to terminate this officer from payroll. So when it was discovered, we worked together as a team very quickly. We communicated, and the officer cooperated, started paying back the money. I submit, Chair.
Honorable colleagues, any follow-up question? Honorable Sabao.
Thank you, Chair. Like the DEP said that they communicated for sure to the ministry, but the ministry has not written to Ministry of Health. So the question goes to Director HR. Why didn't they write to the Ministry of Health? Because the DEPs did her part to the ministry, within the ministry, but the ministry itself to write to Ministry of Health, we don't have that communication. Why?
Thank you, Director HR. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think offhand I can't say, but I'm sure we should have written. If they wrote to us, normally we would read. I don't have the facts now, but I'm pretty sure we must have written.
Yes, we want evidence that your ministry headquarters wrote to the Ministry of Health to ask them to constitute a medical board so that you can discharge this anomaly or this person from the payroll. Mansa, misappropriation of funds. Can you tell us what transpired on this aforesaid officer who misappropriated 135,000 kwacha, and you've only recovered 6,000 kwacha? What is the way forward? Can you explain to us? Mansa, is this at the district? Yes, Mansa DEO. Okay, you can proceed.
The situation is like that. The officer is there, and we wrote to her.
You can proceed.
Yes, sir. The situation is like that, and the officer is there. We managed to write to her, and she accepted the case. She agreed to pay the money,
and she started paying the money. So far, she's paid 6,000. She has even given us a payment plan on how she's going to pay back the money.
PS, what is happening in your ministry? Honorable Sabao, Honorable Daka, Honorable Lumai, then Honorable Mfadhali. You can proceed. Please switch off the mic. DO, switch off the mic. PS, it's a very, very disheartening to hear such submissions from your officers. Honorable Sabao, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. In the submission by the PS, said that the issue was resolved administratively. Now, what was the rationale of resolving such a matter of fraud in nature administratively instead of taking further steps?
Thank you, Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, we have heard the officers submitting that they have been given a payment plan by maybe by lack of a better term, someone who intended to deprive the government permanently. I'm sure you know the terminology, the actual terminology that we're supposed to use. Chairperson, it's worrying. It's worrying because this officer, regardless the fact that he stole from government, he has even resigned. So how does the payment plan come into effect, Chair? Because we understand if he's still working, they can agree on a payment plan, a repayment plan. But this officer is not even in the ministry anymore. He has resigned. So we want to know, controlling officer, how you are going to effect this payment plan in question. I submit, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. I think Honorable Lumai can proceed.
Mr. Chairman, just like the Vice Chair submitted, an officer just introduces 2 non-public service workers to a government payroll, and they are free buying their sausage, chicken, the money they have never gone to school for, they have never been trained, but they're just on payroll. And we are now told there is a payment plan. What I want to find out is, why didn't this matter attract a police case?
Thank you, PS. You can proceed.
Chair, those questions you are raising are the questions as if you were there. I took that team in Mansa to task myself. I didn't take it kindly. I think everyone is a witness. I did not take it kindly, and I even told them they should be ready to come and answer from you, because for me, that's a fraudulent activity that took place. I was wondering why that person was not surrendered to the police. That was my question. I was wondering how they've even gone into that arrangement. Like the way you've put it, is not party to the ministry. The answers I was being given is that because she's a wife to a teacher. Well, but I gave her good luck, because for me, it's a case that warranted being surrendered to police. And I told them that after this audit, after this PAC submission and the presentation, I'll go back to them, because for me, I didn't get it as a proper thing. And they've still got, we have a bone to chew on this one. I'm not going to hide it, because even I didn't accept what they told me. It's a clear police case. They should have done exactly the way it's supposed to have been done.
Thank you. Honorable Mfadhali.
Chair, the ministry HQ is there to make decisions where decisions have failed to be made. Now, when we hear lamentations from the headquarters itself, it gives us concerns. One, Chair, the ministry has failed to act themselves on this matter and preferred to come up to here. I don't think it was in order. I think action should have been taken by the ministry HQ to discipline people. Secondly, Chair, this Mansa, I think you are treating Mansa with kid gloves. One, they wrote to you as HQ for you to write to Ministry of Health And you have done nothing. You are coming here. You knew very well as whatever director and controlling officer, you knew very well that you had an audit query regarding medical board. And you don't even have a letter. You are assuming that you could have written. I don't think that's how we should proceed, Chair. I think let's treat the audit queries seriously. The audit board is not constituted. Letters to prove that they wrote Ministry of Health are not there. Wow, the district has written. Then at the helm, things are not happening. It's not right. Maybe we close, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
You see, there's a process in the civil service, just like there's a process in the teaching service. That case we are talking about now was at district level to move to the province. So as far as we are concerned, it has not yet reached us. It should have moved from DEBS to the province. And from the province, that's a hierarchy, it comes to us. So as far as I'm concerned, as I sit as PS, I have not known, I'm not privy to it until when I now saw it. Because as it is, maybe it's now going to the province, or it went to the province, but the province has not written to us. So if that's the case, we can't know as a ministry headquarters.
Honorable.
Again, we are concerned. Now, controlling officer, you are telling us now that the matter that was raised by the Auditor General, you have taken 3 months, and there is no action all the way from district to province to where you are seated, and we are sitting here without any movement. Public Accounts Committee checks on efficiency, checks on accountability, and also checks on value for money. Now, 3 months down the line, you are coming here, there is no movement whatsoever, only lamentations. I don't think it helps us. It creates a weakness in the system. There's a weakness in the system.
Thank you, Honorable Daka. Then PS will react.
Chair, I want to progress to another question. That's management of farm in Kitu.
Maybe before you progress, let PS just comment on what Honorable Mfarari has said. And Honorable colleagues, don't worry, with the courtesy of chairman, will be sorted. Let's just proceed and finish. Then once we break, we can go in for lunch in one of these places. We can proceed, PS.
Chair, maybe if you can allow PO to assist whether they've received that case. Because you see, at the end of the day, I might be looking like I'm arguing with the committee. But the issue is that it's that process that there is. So maybe provincial office could have been privy to it. That I wouldn't know. Maybe she can say something.
Thank you. PO for Mansa. We can proceed and help the PS on that issue.
Thank you very much, sir. Chair, I am a month and weeks old, but when I arrived, I found this case in Mansa, and when the Shirimo told me about it, I began to follow it up. And I also queried why this was not with police. That was my query. So I told Debs to have reported this case. Then I was told that previous PO had also instructed that the case be reported to the police. Maybe I would like to ask right now, with permission from the PS, that the Debs informs us why the case didn't go to the police.
Thank you.
With permission, Chair.
Yes, thank you. Debs, proceed and tell us why that, because that's fraud. That's actually, Honorable Daka described it very well in a sentence and not in one word, which we don't want to use because it's not parliamentary. So you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. This case was discovered at the province. They are the ones who were managing our payroll. Even the end user was from the province. They discovered that problem, and I thought maybe it should have been the province reporting to police. Me, I had someone who communicated to someone at the PO to do whatever they did to put those people on the payroll. So
Debs, wait a minute. this occurrence happened at the district, isn't it?
It was at the province. It was discovered at the province.
No, before it was discovered at the province, where was this aforesaid officer? Was he at the province or at the district?
Human resource was at the district. Worked hand in hand with someone who was at the province.
PS, can you...
We were just informed that this is what has happened, and then we started the procedure of disciplining the staff who was charged. She responded. We did everything and submitted. So I don't know maybe who should have reported. I don't know whether
Director HR or PS, before Honorable Mfarari comes in, PS, can you elaborate on that issue? Please switch off your mic, Dio. You can proceed.
Chair, for lack of embarrassing the Debs, I think she should also learn to know that we are in a very serious place here. She cannot start telling us here that the province, because even internal audit raised that issue with you. And we were saying you should have reacted to it. So it's at Debs, and I'm re-emphasizing it's at Deb level, not at the province level. She should have dealt with the matter.
Debs, I've been restraining myself, PS, since morning because of the way our deliberations are going. Their answers are not provided.
Order, Chair.
Yes, Vice
Is
Chair.
the PS in order to tell the Debs dialect instead of through you? In this house, we speak through the chair, not direct to the...
Plead ignorance, Chair.
No. It's not admitted, PS. PS, you are a veteran here now. But then we'll proceed. Debs, first and foremost, we are laboring now, because this is like you've spoken to your Debs. This is a serious issue, and we don't want to start invoking certain provisions of the Act, because we want we want seriousness. This is the public funds. And we are not going to tolerate lame answers, blame game. You are here to give us befitting answers. So, PS, I think we've already advised you that such officers should be charged. We don't want laissez-faire and business as usual. And certain steps should be followed if they are not changing to that effect. We are not going to entertain such kind of behavior. Let's make progress. Honorable Daka.
Chair, thank you very much. I would like to take the controlling officer to management of farm, Kitwe DO. Chair, in between August 2017 to January 2020, on page 37, the Office of a District Education Office acquired a farm at 780,406 kwacha in an effort to raise funds for obvious reasons of enhancing resource mobilization at the DO's office and schools. Chair, this farm that was acquired at a colossal sum was later abandoned. And when the auditors visited the office, they found out that they didn't even have an asset register for this aforesaid farm, Chair. And when they checked through the equipment that was supposed to be at that farm, the chainsaw machine, motorbikes, and sprayers were untraceable. The farm was completely ripped of the assets that it was supposed to have. Chair, you could see that when the officers proceeded to audit animals, 9 out of 39 animals were able to be accounted for through provision of death certificates, Chair. Now, so we assume that all the animals died anyway. Chair, we want to find out, after acquiring such type of an expensive asset, controlling officer, why did you abandon the farm? That's question number one. Question number two, why didn't you How did you inform yourself that you should acquire such type of an asset? What informed you to acquire this asset prior for you assessing whether the office of the DEBS had the capacity to manage such type of a farm? How did you arrive at such type of a decision? That is my second question. The third question, where are funds which are meant to reviving this farm going to come from? Have you made any provisions under 2024 budget? Mr. Chairperson, I submit this very important question.
Thank you. Can I have Debs Kitwe and PO Copperbelt to take seats here? PS, you can proceed with your submission before the two officers come through.
Thank you, Chair. I might not be in a position to adequately answer what the Honourable MP has said, especially that this was in 2017, and as to whether at that time it was felt it's viable, I can't know, but at least the beauty is that all the officers from inception are here. From the time the same farm was being established to date, I think everyone is around. I've even involved the person who was who's no longer in the ministry but was party to the farm. I also called him, he's around as well, so that at least maybe they can assist. So if you can allow me, maybe we can answer.
Thank you, PS. Internal audit, the acting director infrastructure, you can give way. Let the former, the one who is there, the PO come and take seats there so that you can help us answer questions to that effect. Thank you so much. You've heard the questions from the honorable members. So we'll start with the former who was there, 2017. Tell us what transpired. And also state to this committee if you had the policy direction from the ministry with documentary evidence that you should proceed and acquire the farm, knowing that this is not a core business of the ministry. So maybe bring us to speed as to what necessitated the procurement of the aforesaid farm in Impongwe district. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. First and foremost, I must mention that production unity is a policy by government. All learning institutions must have production unity. So in 2017, as a board of Kitwe, we sat down to look at the project that we can come up with. And we resolved that we should venture into farming. After discussing that, we met all the head teachers, explained to them, and the head teachers accepted. Then we came up with a contribution because as a board, they were fully appointed by the minister, so they had delegated powers to make decision at that level.
Assistant Director, you've emphasized there was a board, there was a policy direction, proceed now.
Yes. So the schools contributed money, and prior to that we opened the account. All the schools that were contributing money, it was being deposited into that account, and receipts were being issued to that effect. After collecting a lot of money, we convened a meeting again as the board to discuss the budget now, because the preliminary budget didn't have money, but now we had money. So we allocated monies to such items which have been mentioned. Animals were bought, tractors, tractor and its implements. Then we launched the farm in November 2017 in Kitwe. After a month, the animals were moved to Masaiti district. Chair, the farm was very viable business, because in 2018 we were able to compete favorably at the agriculture show, and we came out second in terms of how animals were looking. Then in January 2019, I was transferred. Now, what necessitated us to come up with this business? Of course, it was a policy. Then the establishment of this farm or business, it was on perimeter and premise that it would help the district in so many ways. One, the schools in Kitwe are actually in urban, most of them. So we thought those who are doing agriculture science, instead of doing agriculture science on theories, learners will be moved to the farm to do their practical lessons there. Then at that point, we also had erratic funding, especially for the primary schools, because it was free education. So we thought the primary schools would be getting money from this farm to actually enhance their operation. It was a big project. We thought the standard officers also, as the production starts, we were supposed to be even buying vehicles for standard officers from the farm, because the vision was so big. It was also part of that farm that would also motivate teachers, those that are hardworking. The proceeds from the farm motivate teachers, those that are hardworking but they are...
Thank you for your submission. There's a question to say, why did you abandon the farm implements, isn't it, Honorable Daka? And the animals which died. Maybe you can pick it up from
Thank
there.
you, Chair. I was transferred in 2019 January, and I handed over not only on paper but physically went to the farm with the debs that that took after me. And for your own information, Chair, the farm we ran for 1 year, that's 2018, we never recorded any death of animals, because we deliberately co-opted a medical doctor on the board who was taking care of the animals. So I handed over 108 goats plus 46 heads of cattle. Out of these 46, 44 were heifers and 2 were bulls.
Thank you. Who took over from you? Are you here? The one who took over? If you are here, can you proceed and make submission? What transpired thereafter? You can proceed. You can switch off the mic there.
Thank you, Chair, and the honorable members. Sure, I was handed over 46 cattle, the way my brother Dr. Kaumas put it, and also 108 goats. I submit.
Honorable Daga, can you rephrase your question?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, I'm glad that you have accepted that you received the animals. Now, when the auditors visited the farm during time of the audit, 9 out of, 9 out of 39 had death certificates. What happened to the rest of the animals? I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. You can proceed and answer that question.
Thank you, Chair. I lived in Kitwe only for 8 months. Thereafter, I was transferred back to Lusaka and also handed over 108 goats to my colleague who was coming in, Mr. Nyungira Christopher, seated beside me, and also 46 cattle. I submit.
The one who handed over after handing over of the handover, you can proceed and tell us how you got the handover and what you inherited and what transpired. You can proceed.
Chair, thank you very much and good afternoon. I will not go into so many things. Yes, I took over the farm, an abandoned farm from my brother here. I also received about 100 animals, 100 goats, and 46 heads of cattle. Chair, you'll be agreeing with me that at the time when I was taking over the farm was already abandoned. The farm had no authority to where government can spend money. And in 2020, I wrote a report to the PEO on the status of the farm. I also did a copy to the Permanent Secretary Administration, the copy that I gave the auditors when they came. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Daka, proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. The committee want to find out, because when the auditors came to the farm, 9 out of 39 animals had death certificates. What happened to the rest? That's number one. 2, there are some farm implements which were supposed to be found on the farm, which actually disappeared, like the chainsaw machine, the motorbikes, the motorbikes, and the sprayers. These are physical things. These are physical assets, movable assets that one would expect that they will be found on the farm. So we want to know where the whereabouts of the 39 animals and the whereabouts of these implements that I've just mentioned. Chairperson, I submit.
Thank you. On top of that, just categorically state DO, when you took over, what was at the farm? What was the general status of the farm? Because we hear your predecessor is saying they handed over the same amount of animals and goats which he also was handed over to. So we just want we want to understand, when did the farm start disintegrating, or when did the animals start dying, or when did some of these equipment start having 2 legs to move and leave the farm, so that we can ascertain and then now proceed as it were. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I took over the office in 2019 August, on the 13th of August, and what my brother has explained is what he handed over to me. By then, Chair, like what I said earlier on, the farm was already abandoned because the farm had no money.
Okay, Vice Chair, then Honorable Mfarad.
Thank you, Chair. In his submission, he said that the farm was abandoned. In my imagination, I'm thinking there was nothing on the farm. So the one who was before him, you handed over something. Where is the record of the handing over? Because this is a government institution. You don't hand over verbally. There must be records, so that his evidence will be sufficient for him to say it was abandoned and never received anything. Even if there was nothing, there must be a record. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mfarad.
Chair, the current officer sitting in Kitwe has admitted that he received something. And it's that something that we want to know where it is. Where are the animals that you were given or handed, that were handed over to you? And you know so well, when it comes to disposing government assets, you don't just allow or come with whatever. There must be police reports involved. So you were handed over something in this case. It's not true that it was abandoned. Animals cannot live on an abandoned farm. No. There was something. That's why someone handed over.
Thank you. Through your PS DO, you can proceed. What we want to ascertain is like what honorable members have said. I want to overemphasize. What did you receive? And what was the status of the farm? I think I stated my question clearly, and Vice Chair said they should be hand over and take over notes. What did you receive? What was the status? Abandoned To what extent? What was there? Oh, when I arrived, I was given 10 goats. The plow was not there. The chainsaw was sitting with Mr. Who in who. This one was, the motorbike was with a person. We want to know the intricacies so that we can ascertain and also come up with a conclusion. You can proceed with those two questions.
Thank you, Chair. I like what I said earlier on. The 46 animals, cattle were handed over to me, and 100 goats. Secondly, Chair, all the machinery were at the farm when I took over. Chair, the time when the auditors came, they did not find some of the machinery because they were kept at Kitwe College of Education for safety, because we had few officers who were there who were not on government payroll, so we were trying to take some of those equipments to KTC where they will be safe. Chair, all the machinery are now at Kitwe College of Education, and proof is with me that all the machinery are at Kitwe College of Education. Coming to the issue, the other issue of the machinery, Chair, I don't agree that the machinery were bought. The machinery, some of the machinery were borrowed, and up to now we are still paying as the government, paying to Saro investment. Thirdly, Chair, coming to the issue of the animals. Yes, it is true, and I regret that only 9 certificates were issued by Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, but the rest were not given. Chair, like what you heard from Dr. Kauma, the farm is not near Kitwe. The farm is in Mpongwe district. You need to go into Ndola. You need to go into Luansha.
Yes, Honorable Mfarari.
I mean, officer, let's be serious with the public assets. And I think we won't sit here to start listening to those stories about distance and whatnot. You were handed over a farm with animals on it. Where are the animals?
Chair, the animals...
Just wait.
Okay.
Just wait. Honorable Daka.
Chair, when the auditors, you know, the whole audit process has got a time frame. It's not a day. It's not one day that the auditors will come to your office and say, give us this, give us that, and then it ends like that. Then this query is escalated to ourselves. No. There was a time frame. You had all the opportunity to make available what the auditors were querying about. Why is it that you failed to make available the assets which the auditors were querying about at the point of the audit, and even the animals? The committee want to know, where is the disc harrow? Where is the planter? Where is the boom sprayer? All these things the auditors queried you, and you failed at the point of the audit to make these things available. So now you want to come to this committee and tell us that Ndola is far. There's no such a thing. Chairperson, I mean, let the officer who is submitting be serious, because this committee, we don't take things as you are taking them for a joke. We are here for serious business. Can you respond? Can you tell us what we want? Where are the animals? Where is the equipment? And if the equipment is somewhere, I mean, why was it difficult for you to take the auditors where the equipment was at the time of the audit? And you want to pretend to come and tell us here that no, now the equipment, after I don't know whatever you have done now, I don't know really that maybe you have mobilized equipment from wherever now and want to make us understand that that equipment is indeed there. We are not going to accept. Chair, I submit.
Thank you. PS, I don't know if you have a submission before your DO comes through, because even in your interim management later, I think there was a submission to Auditor General that activities at the farm could not be carried out because the acquisition of the aforesaid farm was questionable. So I don't know. There was that response. You can proceed.
Chair, I'm going to struggle over this issue of the farm because as far as head office is concerned, in fact, maybe if it wasn't for audit taking place, I wouldn't have even known that there's this farm. Because we don't have any records pertaining to the farm at head office, absolutely not. And I remember you asked whether there was any consent by authority, meaning head office, for them to have gone that route. I'll be very honest, there's not even a file or a paper to show that. So I wouldn't have known, save for the audit.
TO, the Honorable Daka has asked a question. I know you've also inherited, but you're in the office. And Honorable Mfarari has asked a question. You can proceed and answer those two questions.
Sorry. Chair, the equipments are there. I regret that at a time when the auditors came, some equipments were at the farm and some other equipments were somewhere else. I regret about that. But at the moment, Chair, all the equipments that were at the farm are all taken to Kitwe College of Education for safety. So I regret that the time when the auditors came, the other equipments were not at the farm.
The issue of animals, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the animals, there was an outbreak of disease and some animals died. Just because, Chair, we did not have enough funds at the office to be engaging Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock to be going to the farm every time, but we tried our level best to buy some drugs to make sure that the animals are safe. But we could not manage, I regret, because there was no budget for the farm at the time I took over the office. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mukumbi. Last intervention, Chair. Chair, I'm just trying to imagine the concept itself, as explained by you were former deputy. To be moving learners from Kitwe to Mpongwe to go and learn agricultural science, whether on buses or what every morning, how feasible could that be? Or you just wanted to buy someone's farm for the purposes of just trying to... I mean, I can't understand. There are no farms nearby Kitwe for you to be risking kids from Kitwe to Mpongwe. Mpongwe is quite far. And surely. And where are we now with this farm, PS? Is this a government farm, or it's for the board, or we could be discussing something that does not probably even exist? Whose farm is it? Auditors went there. He is saying they made schools contribute money. Definitely should be government money, isn't it? So what is the status of this particular farm as we speak now? Because seemingly, the Debs is saying it's abandoned. And so who is there? There's the caretaker now. So where are we? What's the status? Chair, I submit.
Thank you. PS, there's that question. And, Honorable Mfarari, there's that question. Let Honorable Mfarari ask, then you can answer the two questions.
Chair, we appreciate the controlling officer that he didn't know that there was such a farm. But the fact that there was money, public fund, that was used to acquire whatever was acquired, you have to account. Well, I don't believe in what you are telling us, sir. I don't. Where are the animals that were handed over to you and the equipment? Even the equipment. Look, you are telling us that the part of the equipment does not belong to the farm, but you are paying. Saro gave equipment to the farm and you are paying. Where is the other equipment that you are saying was actually you are paying for it right now? I think we must take serious issues related to public funds. And when it comes to public funds, I have no kind words for people that want to help themselves on public funds. I have no kind words. Where are the animals?
Honorable Daka.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to ask a further question to the DO. Surely, accountability is very important when we are dealing with public funds. You have mentioned that, or you have submitted to this committee that indeed animals died. You only provided 9 death certificates as a proof that these animals indeed died. What the committee want to know is the remaining animals whose death certificates are nowhere. This is what we want to know. Chairperson, let the DO, if animals were stolen or animals were shared, just say that. Then you need not to waste our time here. We'll keep on asking you the same question until you tell us the truth. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed with Honorable Mkumbi's question, very important. Where does this farm belong? And those other issues, you can proceed.
Chair, as the Honorable has rightly put it, for as long as monies, and that's exactly what my interrogation was now after the audit, as long as the money came from public resources, meaning schools contributed, this is the story we were given, that schools contributed, and if schools contributed, those are public resources. Therefore, this farm is a means of education farm. However, for it to also be a farm that is legally binding to us, I went further to probe where the title deeds, because I said for that, from the time when this farm was bought, the first thing before even operations took place, they should have made sure the interest of the government is safeguarded. And how do we safeguard the interest? First of all, title deeds. And then you now sit on firm ground to say we can spend money. Because you cannot spend money on something that is neither yours or whatever. So I was told even title deeds are not there. That's when I learned that even chiefs don't give title deeds. I said, no, we all have bought from traditional rulers. It can move from a letter, from a ruler, the letter goes to the council, and it's formalized into a title deed. I have believed, but like I'm saying, even the authority, I don't have it. So, yes, this is still a farm, but we need to now know how best it can be dealt with. But these are public resources. I was also worried. The members, are they not worried? Those members that contributed, they ought to be worried that their farmers distinguished, yet they put in so much money. I asked all those issues. And I think those are administrative. Maybe we'll be able to concretize them later. But I think I'm as worried as you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. I think we need to wind up. Hey, can you proceed and answer the question of animals, then we wind up. DO can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I will not come here and start lying to the members of Parliament that animals were shared or animals were stolen. Record is there at the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries in Mpongwe that the animals died of an outbreak. The records are there because we engaged them when we took over the office, like what you heard from Dr. Kauma.
Maybe where you need to clarify, the only records we have is for 9 animals. What is the status of the rest of the animals? Did they also die? If they died, where are the certificates? You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I have 2 reports here from Minister of Livestock and Fisheries. We wrote them to find out what happened. Chair, as you are aware, I am a teacher, so issues to do with animals, I have very. So the report is here, Chair.
Hold on, Honorable Mfarari. Yes, you can switch off the mic.
We are looking at a report of Auditor General. through the controlling officer. Auditors visited this farm. When they visited the farm, you should have had record way before the auditors came to that farm to look at the animals or to look at the property itself. You didn't have those. Now today you are coming telling us that no, the livestock went and gave you reports through whoever that doctor. It's not fair. It's not fair. Why do you have to start misleading the committee? The responsibility of looking after those animals was given to you. When all these two handed over things that were intact, why did it take you to start destroying it? Where are the animals? That's what we are looking for. Where are the animals? At the time when the auditors came, you only produced 9 reports. What about the rest? No, Chair, we can't accommodate such kind of behavior or such kind of handling things. I think controlling officer, we can't.
Thank you, Honorable Mfarari. Dio, can you please answer the question?
Thank you, Chair. I will repeat the same language that I will not come here to mislead the committee. I regret the animals died. I've given the report even when the auditors came, because we were in talking terms with colleagues from fisheries and livestock, until I wrote them a letter to request that they give us a report on the remaining animals. That's a report that I've given out. I also have another report that was written before even the auditors came from Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. I regret that I can't come here and start telling stories and misleading the House.
Thank you. Honorable Lumai.
Mr. Chairman, we are at the Indian Ocean regarding this matter. And in trying to get to its logical conclusion, what I want to find out from the Debs, Kitwe, this farm had a farm manager. The farm manager is supposed to give us a report, or you are supposed to get a report from the farm manager. So where is the farm manager for this farm? And I've never heard a disease killing goats. Maybe it's there. 100 goats, yeah. So I submit, Chair, that maybe we get a report from the farm manager so that we can conclude this matter amicably.
Thank you. Dio, is a farm manager here?
Thank you, Chair. There was no manager that was employed at a farm. I don't remember getting handover of a farm manager.
So who was running the farm? Who was a caretaker if no manager? Who was at the farm? Because all of you were in Kitwe and your various schools. How was the farm running itself? Maybe we start from there. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Some few people I found on the farm were just people that were looking after the animals, the 3 of them. There was no manager that was employed. I submit.
It's a serious issue, this one.
Chair,
yes, Honorable.
Can we, through the PO, can we have all those workers, be they caretakers or whatever, brought here? Yes, we need the people that were sitting at the farm. The handover was made, and the animals were there, goats were there. And that's why Honorable Lumai is wondering, what type of disease killed goats? 100 goats, just like that, in Mpongwe? No, we know these areas. I'm a rancher. I understand what you're talking about.
Thank you, Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Chairperson. Now, he's saying that he's not a competent personnel with regards to looking after animals or animal husbandry. Why, in the first instance, did you accept to take responsibility of things that you didn't understand so well? because you want to make this committee understand that you are a layman and you couldn't control whatever was happening at that farm. And the chair, when strange things are happening nowadays, you find that we have got cameras or phones, chair. He could have just maybe gotten some pictorial evidence to say we have these animals, this animal there. You could have taken pictures. Are you in a position to give us evidence indeed that without providing death certificates, are you able to provide evidence? I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. I think those are the last interventions. DO, you can answer those questions, then we'll come to PS. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The report I've just given out has some pictures of some bones of some animals that died, which was not prepared by myself, but prepared by Minister of Livestock and Fisheries. I submit, Chair.
Then there's a question, why did you accept responsibility? And if when you got the handovers, you could have seen that there was imminent danger, faced away the status of the farm, and the people were probably taking care of the farm. I think that was the prudent thing, was to quickly alert the ministry and say we have this situation, how do we move forward? Maybe you can proceed and answer that last question.
Thank you, Chair. On 13th of January 2020, I wrote a report when I took over the office to the PS, Minister of General Education Administration by then, and another copy to the PO, a report which I have here, where I gave the status of the farm and the challenges that I found with the farm, and proposing that the farm should be handed over because it has no status. I submit, Chair.
Wow. Anyway, honorable colleagues, thank you for your time and also stretching PS and your team. If anything, PS, you've seen how this committee has labored to untangle some of these issues, and not only that, there are a lot of issues under paragraph 27, which some of them we've just skipped. As we proceed, when we finish with other paragraphs, we'll give the recommendations on what you ought to do as a ministry. I think you've seen how we've labored to that effect. And let me just take this opportunity, because some of these your people who are here are not coming on Monday, if I'm correct, especially coming from the provinces, that we do not entertain business as usual in this committee. And like we've recommended through the PS, if you are not doing your function, your duties which have been conferred before you, according to the job we have applied for and what government has bestowed before you, that you do as a PEO, as a DEO, and as whoever it is, as a government officer. PS, we don't want laissez-faire and business as usual. We want proper accountability, adherence to Public Financial Management number 1 of 2018, Public Procurement number 8 of 2020. All those should be adhered to in full without giving us lame excuses. And PS, do not hesitate to charge these officers. And those who've got those lame excuses, we want to see to it that they're charged. And those things come through as we look at the outstanding report. Once this is tabled before Parliament, we want to see to it that they're charged. And those who've made government lose funds, they should also pay. They should also not just charging others to say recover from others while others are seated. That we're not going to entertain. We want people to refrain. We want people to sit and ensure that they give government a service, because they're paid on a salary. There are a lot of glaring issues in this report. Payroll issues, even your headquarters, your director HR, assistant director HR, they should be up to speed to ensure that these issues are mitigated. We're not going to labor to talk about things we've been talking about through payroll report again. We come back here, we sit and deliberate on things, and tomorrow people are behaving the same. We need to see change to that effect, that people are adhering to some of these recommendations to that effect. Then that to bring in accountability. good governance, our people won't be deprived. 217 million, 76, 79 million kwacha. A lot of things. People will just get government money without a proper authority, and they start using that money on their own benefit. That is stealing. And such people, those things should not be condoned. PS, there's issue of Mansa, misappropriation. We cannot sit without a police report and come before this honorable committee and still submit like it's business as usual. So we want you to follow up that issue. People should be arrested if they are there. People should account. Let's not treat people with kids' gloves. We want accountability. We have a very tight fiscal space as a country. We are grappling with issues of debt restructuring. Then people should misappropriate funds with impunity. We are not going to allow that as a committee. Heads will roll. Those people are not adhering to those to financial aggressions. They should be out of the system. If not, if they don't want to work, let them be out of the system. We want people who want to contribute to the development of this country. And that's what we are here as a committee on, a very serious business. PS. We are not here to just come and listen to innuendos, to excuses, to oversights, to overlooked. That's not the business of the committee. So PS, we implore you to ensure that that is done as we proceed on Monday to look at other paragraphs. The people from the province take this as a serious intervention from this committee. You were brought here because we've seen how these queries have been escalating from the provinces, and there's no improvement. You come here with written letters reacting to audit queries instead of you adhering to procedures and following the process and provide the evidence as required by the Office of the Auditor General. These are under a mandate of the Constitution to audit and have access to all records in public institutions such as ministries and MPSs. So I think it's important that we follow and adhere to those regulations. And while we're employed, we are all Zambians here. There's no foreigner. Let's save this country diligently. All of us, we should push in one direction and do not push back the government. And tomorrow you say it's Niva Boma. That concept should go, because your children and our children will come and pay for some of these issues. So PS, with that said, I want to thank you most sincerely. Yes, sir.
For the record, I was walking out when... Did they say on the farm issue, did they say a medical doctor or a vet doctor? I want to, just for the record, I want to know. A medical doctor who was looking after animals. Okay.
Thank you so much. I think we have a record. Yes, sir?
Thank you, Chair. I said the veterinary doctor was actually co-opted on the board.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's correction to that effect, that is a vet doctor. So PS and our colleagues from the province take this seriously, and we don't bring you here to come and humiliate you, but we bring you here to come and give us answers and move forward as a country. So we thank you most sincerely for coming before this honorable committee, and we hope and pray that we'll see change moving forward to foster development for this country. PS, I thank you so much, and let me now take this opportunity to lift the immunity conferred before you. Okay, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to seek your indulgence. I've noticed that paragraph 28, which hasn't yet been tackled, still involves schools and all these others that have come. So I don't know.
Okay, they'll still be here then. Because if it covers them, those who are affected, they still be here, so that we can look at that on Monday and finish it.
So perhaps what I'll do is I'll look at those that are involved, those that are not.
Yes, yes. Those who are involved, they can stay. Those who are not cited, they can take leave.
Thank you, Chair.
So PS, with that intervention, I want to thank you most sincerely and take this opportunity to lift this immunity which was conferred before you and your team, that you are now free in case people have got they need to eat, if they've taken a long time. We thank you so much and have a good afternoon. Thank you.